After 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Earth.
Alpha, Regis escaped. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes.
No problem, boss.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that. Thanks to ElecVerse out there in the chat, feasibly tonight, and on past chats for sure. Thank you very much for making the request for Super Bowl Game Saturday on Friday this time. So it is Super Bowl Game almost Saturday. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Captain D-Trag, and we are playing the August entry of the viewer requests. We do these every month, at least one of. And ElecVerse said to me, hey, I want to see some stuff going on with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so we have it tonight. We're playing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo. It is totally different from all the other ones that came out at the time for the Sega Genesis, the Game Gear, the Sega CD, the Game Boy, and I think it was all of them at the time. This was published by Bandai like all of them were, but this one was developed by Natsume, the team who made Pocky and Rocky and Wild Guns, as well as other games like Shadow the Ninja, and their first licensed game, which was in 1990, that was the Jetsons' Cogswell's Caper for the NES. Yeah, they decided to take the television program of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was a huge hit in 1993. They struck while the iron's hot with this single-player beat-em-up that does have flashing lights. I want to give a warning on that. Anytime you see the bomb going off, I will warn you when I do that. But just for the purpose of the intro, yeah, whenever you see that, there's going to be a flashing light, because that was the idea of the show, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was, to the US, the first introduction of the Super Sentai franchise. Well, that show is going on since the 1970s, 1975 to be exact, and was mixing stock footage of Kiryu Sentai Jurenja. And with that, we then got the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with it, which kind of mixed around its own take on things, kind of a little bit like Saved by the Bell a bit, and we'll definitely get into memories of that. Any discussion you have on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, we're playing this game. One thing I'm going to do first, though, go on the options menu. They default you on mono for some reason. We're all stereo on this one, baby, and there's also password system. We will come to that later because there is something to go into when it comes to the password stuff, but that'll come later at the show. Feasibly near the end. To be fair, this is not a long game, so to be honest, this might be the shortest show we have for a while, actually. Probably till October, maybe, when we do House of the Dead remake, assuming that other shows don't go shorter. But we'll see. Yeah, so I do have my memories with this game, not as much with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers myself, but I saw it enough. One thing that is nice to hear in this game, and I was always impressed by, you get that remix of the Ron Wasserman theme song with vocals. Yeah, so you have them saying Go Go Power Ranger, singular, because this is a one-player game, as far as the beat-em-up part of it anyway. So yeah, with that, you're all ready to go. Hey yo, Triceratops! Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, ElecVerse. So good to see you tonight for our Friday show. As I mentioned, every time I have to not be on Saturday, we got Friday. I know you wanted to see references or representation of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We have it with the Super Nintendo game. If you're letting me know any memories you have with this one, other games of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or any Power Ranger stuff, because this started a dynasty that's still going to this very day. And you're going to live to hear all of your experiences. And don't worry, this is not the only Power Rangers game we're going to play going forward. But I said, you know, let's start with one that, actually the first one I played was growing up a little bit. I rented this. I said, well, at least do this before we get to other ones that might not be as good or might be better. Because actually, the sequel to this on Super Nintendo is quite a good game. Hope you're doing well, ElecVerse, as well, as we get ready to go with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Super Nintendo. Alright, so I have everything set as far as my options. Let's check that one more time, make sure we're running stereo sound. As I mentioned earlier, they only default you to mono. I don't know why, but yeah, we're running stereo on this one. You hear the great music in this, which, by the way, was done by Iku Mizutani, who did the music for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Heroes of the Lance, as well as Chaos World and NES. And a game we're going to be doing in December, albeit not the version we're playing. He did the music for Tetris Plus, the Game Boy version, not the Saturn one. We're playing that in December. As well as Kunio Yamashita, who did music for other games of Natsume, who developed this, by the way, including Pocky Rocky 2 and Mark Davis, the Fishing Master. But a lot of people said, and I have thought this over the years, that, hey, the music in this sounds like something that could be out of a Mega Man X game. Yeah, because she did the music for Mega Man X3 for the Super Nintendo, as well as Castlevania on the NES. And they definitely did a good representation of the element of the show as we go along in the demo, but I'm going to skip this. We're going to get to the show and get ready to go for Super Old Game Almost Saturday. I think that's the official name we got to have when we're on a Friday show, but let's get started. So as I said at the beginning, yeah, Rita Repulsa has broken out after 10,000 years, and she is coming to take over the world, starting with Angel Grove, California. And so we have our team of teenagers with attitudes right there. We plays each one of them as we go through the 7 stages of this one to save the world and save the city from feasibly being burnt. Alrighty, so for this one, it is based on the first series of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so you have the characters from that one in particular. I think because I rented this one back in the day, I don't remember much because I played Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie more. I'm kind of with you, actually, because I rented this once. It was interesting to me because, I'll say this as far as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is concerned before we get started, before I go into the characters we got here. I kind of was one of those people who, as I was growing up, there was a period when this came out that thought that, hey, is it necessarily too much of an aggressive case for children, the same way Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was seen as? Although, I guess nowadays it seems kind of quaint by comparison. I was one of those people who sort of pretended to be above it, saying like, oh no, I don't like this kind of thing. But I kind of was always curious, so I actually rented this game kind of out of curiosity, almost like an embarrassment case. I think my brother was saying like, wait, you're renting this? I was like, yeah, but then I've rented the movie one, and I like the movie one in particular, even though that one, fine, the Super Nintendo one is not following the movie a whole lot, but it definitely has more, and that one has a 2-player mode for it to beat 'em up stuff, this one does not. But it was interesting for that, because over the years, as I said, I know, like, for sure, the big one on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so feel free to drive this one as much as you want. I sort of know little bits and pieces, but it was kind of, in more recent years, that kind of found it in its way, although even then very, very limited, mostly with the first series. So, I mean, I have a little bit of experience with this one, too. Actually, most of my experience with this now has been when I bought it a couple months ago, because I know you said, you want to see some Power Rangers stuff. I said, let's start with a decent one. Let's start with this one. We'll definitely get to the other ones. I'll see about that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. I guess the Super Nintendo version you're talking about, I'm going to assume yes. It actually costs a bit of money. It's like $70-80, but I would be willing to invest in that because it's one I liked as well. It's definitely interesting to go into. And we mentioned that Sega Genesis version of the movie game, which is by Sims, who made Shadow Dancer and has a feel of Streets of Rage. This one sort of does. Let's kind of pull in a little bit from Ninja Warriors from Taito a bit. But still a good one and a good starting representation of Power Rangers on the show. Is it anything you want on the show, you got it. Alrighty, so let's talk about who we have to select. All 5 of the main Rangers. We have Jason, bold and powerful, of course, runs the Tyrannosaurus Dino Zord. We have Kimberly, who is graceful and smart, who runs the Pterodactyl Zord. We have Zachary, who's clever and brave, who is the Mastodon Dinozord under his ownership. Billy, as you mentioned, who runs the Triceratops Zord. He is, of course, patient and wise. And Trini, who is fearless and agile, and the saber-toothed tiger Zord is hers to command. You know, I kind of remember some of that, admittingly, from watching a little bit of the original series, particularly the first episode of it, for it, to kind of get that burned in my brain, and also that being the case with the Sega CD version of this, or Sega CD Power Rangers game, which I don't know if we could show for content reasons, because it's basically playing specific clips from the show with a QuickTime button element underneath it, or on top of it. If I can, I'd love to, just because it's so weird. Basically just the idea of, yeah, we have your whole element of Power Rangers, and we have that running here. So yeah, we have your choice of Rangers. We have Jason, Kimberly, Zach, Billy, and Trini, as I'm gonna assume, like you're saying, as far as Triceratops, you have a... Actually, no, you mentioned when we played Streets of Rage that you have an affinity as far as Billy and the Triceratops Zord. My favorite of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers team. I was gonna say, chat requests on who we should play as first, because after each world, or after each level, you did come back here and select another character. Stars Billy, you asked for this game or for this franchise, we're starting with your favorite. And we did mention him when we did Streets of Rage. Alright, let's go to Area 1. Yeah, like Streets of Rage, you're kind of blowing around and punching things. So yeah, here he goes, taking the walk. Yeah, he gets a little nervous with the punch, but don't worry, that's going to change a little bit later. Also, the characters do have a little bit of different, I guess, elements to themselves as far as what they do and some of their skills. In this case, he kind of has the jump going. He's a bit slower than some of the other characters, although to be honest, you can feasibly go the whole game playing as whichever character you want. And you get to notice that as you go along, punching the putties. Pretty simple for this. You're only on 2D plane, not going up and down the way we were with Final Fight and Streets of Rage. But in this case, you're basically walking around, hitting the B button to do jumping. When you're in the air, hit the Y button for the kick like that. Yeah, he does have a powerful, combo attack, because when you run into putties that have more energy to them instead of the, the ones there just die in one hit, he does a multi-punch, so in that way he actually can cause the most damage to get rid of them quickly. So each of the characters, like with the show, and like with the idea of who these characters are, they have their own skills that come together in some way. Fine, in this game a little less, because, as I mentioned, it's single player only, but still the idea that you can kind of play around and see that, oh, they have different skills themselves that you definitely want to play around and have a good amount of fun with. Alright. Yeah, basically Y button is your attack, and as we get later, you can also grab enemies, you get close and hit the Y button, and you do a throw. The throw arc is going to be different based upon the character you run into as well. It seems like it's taking some damage on this to start with 3 lives, but it's not going to be much of a problem as you go along. Basically, like a lot of the beat-em-ups happen, or how they've happened on the show or ever, punch everything when you get to the end of the screen, get that go arrow, you are off to the next part of the level. You beep, 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 yeah, you're all set to go. Boom. Seeing the city blocks there, and definitely nice use of color here. I'm definitely going to notice that, and good elements of the animations here as far as, like, yeah, he's kind of just standing there, you know, breathing a little bit, doing the crouch down. It looks a little weird that way, but there he is. Okay, so we are going well for this, just beating up all the putties. I did the fun one. Simple but fun, and that's usually what the best you can hope for as far as a beat-em-up, and especially one based on a license. But yeah, we got our first enemy here. Like the show, well, when we see an enemy boss, in this case it is Bones, it's morphin' time! So, alright, we do have the power of the Triceratops ready to go, and there, Billy is transformed. He is the Blue Ranger, and he has the, I guess, the Trident, I think, but feel free to correct me if that's not what he's hitting here. Yeah, in his case, what happens is that, okay, you do sort of a grab, you get close to him. It's kind of like how Final Fight 2 was, in the sense you get close to him, hit down in the Y button for it, but you can also get close to do the grab that way, and also, I believe, hit up for that. You can also do another attack that way. He does have very good reach with that weapon, I guess, in a way like Donatello was with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, any of them. And hit up on the Y button, you do have your special attack with weapon. In this case, he swings it around. It's actually good for hitting a lot of enemies pretty quickly. Definitely a good case for that. And that's one thing about this game in particular I do like, and you do have a different combo when you're kind of on the ground hitting down on the D-pad. What I like about this game in particular is that I mean, what's interesting about these, the thought is sometimes like, hey, you're not a Power Ranger the whole time throughout a level, you're the main character, but hey, like the show, the thought is that as you go along, you get your powers going on, and then you do the morph, and like, okay, then it's gonna be really fun. Also, one thing I do is, I'm avoiding these things. I want to give a little bit of a flashing light warning, because you're seeing that bomb thing over there. When you hit the X button, we have that, you do a screen clearing attack, and that item there is an extra one. I want to see if I can't, okay, fine, I'll just grab it. Oh wait, it's not like the other, well, some of the other beat-em-ups. Okay, yeah, if you get that, I think at that point it's maybe health recovery. I'll just pick up benches by running towards them, you left to right, hitting Y, and you throw them. And when you throw them, they are destroyed. Yeah, when I use that bomb, by the way, the screen is going to have a flash case going on. In some cases, not Wizard of War bad, but still definitely pretty strong. So I'm going to put a little bit of an indication to it now, and when I add it this in a couple of days, I'll definitely also reinforce that. Because I guess you sort of got into that, and I guess with Power Rangers itself, you kind of got into that element as far as some flashing light elements a little, but yeah, I mean, it's not horrible, but at least give a warning to that. Alright, yeah, by the way, yeah, you have the cars going there. I do like how the putties just come in on the truck. It's like, yeah, they're going to be doing that. And you can also just hit the truck and basically destroy it, so just like Final Fight, feasibly, as far as destroying that, except you don't have the... That would be hilarious, getting the putties saying, oh my god! So it's like, yeah, no, they're not going to do that. Also, there's your health, that is your recovery of it, and when you're at blue with your meter like that, it means you're at full health. I do like how you just destroy the cars for that. Yeah, basically just keep hitting everything, pretty much. There's not too much to it, but as I said, with a beat-em-up like this, especially based on the license, I mean, honestly, I get the sense, and we've mentioned this when we played stuff like Turtles and The Simpsons and X-Men and things like that, and we'll go back to definitely some of those as we go along, especially when that Kalmarga collection comes out in about 2 weeks or so. I think what I really like about some of these games, that I think the real goal, I guess, of a lot of them is pretty much put you in that feel of being part of this enterprise, playing these characters, and just beating stuff up, which is going to be a lot of fun as we were fighting Bones, as I mentioned. Who appeared on the High Five episode of the television show. It looks a little bit like, I don't know, Chad, if you're familiar with this, Shakan, the Forever Man, which is a game on the Sega Genesis, I believe it was the Game Gear version. He has a long reach with the swords, actually, he's hitting me way more with than I had happened on the test play. Or the test check as it's been. So here's the thing, when I tend to run this, I tend to use my bomb later on, because yeah, each of the bosses has multiple forms. In his case, he has 3. Ow. I'd be careful with him doing that stab, because yeah, if I get my life down too much more, I'm gonna die. Okay, I actually never saw him do the, like the Sonic Wave or whatever that is. Ugh. Basically what I want to do with the bomb, I kind of tend to hold it myself until we get later on, and maybe I shouldn't, because if I get killed, I have to go back to checkpoint. You have a good amount of them, alright, but there's first form done. He then loses his arm, so yeah, bye-bye Sword. Just keep hitting him, but he throws fire. And the fire can get you as far as its range, so kind of just stay out of the way. Actually, in some ways, it's kind of easier than with the sword, but I'll tell you what I'm waiting for, and I will definitely indicate that when I get to it. Get to the last form, because that's the hardest one to hit. Ugh. Okay, perfect. Yeah, and when the bones come off, you know he's at the next form. So, alright, flashing light warning now, and hit the X button to unleash the bomb. Yeah, the power of the Triceratops is there, dropping the ice down, and that tends to do a lot of damage. In fact, it killed him right there. So, alright, we got it. Alright, that was close. At the end of each area, you do get a password, so if you want to come back to this later, you can type it in that way. There's no save on this, but mainly this is not a very long game, so it shouldn't be too bad as far as it, and I think you have unlimited continues in this, although if that's not right, correct me, chat, or correct me myself in the future when we get to that point. Okay, by the way, just to go into one thing as far as the different characters that we gave Billy his time in the sun, there are 7 levels in this game. The first 5 let you play as the Rangers, so for each one of them, we're going to pick a different Ranger. So, for the purpose of this, so yeah, we did the Triceratops, so we have Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Saber-toothed Tiger, Tyrannosaurus! Alright, let's do the Tyrannosaurus take. Let's take Jason out. Because if nothing else, it also shows what each of the characters are doing as you go into Area 2. We're going to the forest. I do like some of the visual design of this in the sense that you saw right there, kind of the rainbow look of the Rangers, each character when they come in. Alright, there's also those enemies there. Also, in this case, you get to see what's different with Jason. Specifically, he's a little more, I guess, a little more agile in some ways than Billy is, from what I can tell. I mean, honestly, of what I looked up, I didn't see a whole lot of information on this, despite the fact that this is a game from about 28 years ago. I thought I'd find more information that way. But either way, he does seem to, I guess, maybe hit more, or hit harder, I should say. But as I was showing with Billy, Billy has the ways to deal with the enemies as far as that. And also, I think these... Okay, I was going to say I can't kill those things. I was wrong. I can. Just do the jump and the punch. And, okay, that probably just was, I guess, intimidated by, I guess, the arms of Jason there. It's like, fine, screw this. I'm running away. All right, we're going to the factory. So, yeah, we're definitely getting some elements as far as levels with beat 'em up. Also, this is where they introduce barrels come along, so just jump over them, otherwise you get yourself hurt. I do love the music here for sure. As I mentioned, this is something that, as I mentioned, people have said, it has an element of like Mega Man X, perhaps, kind of high energy, kind of synthesized guitar, keyboard sound. It definitely sounds really nice and famous. Yeah, but now the putties have the shields and the knives, so you gotta get the shields away by hitting them, and then take care of them also. Alright, there you go. Yeah, because in this case, his combo is basically do the punch and basically give him the strong arm at the end of it. Oh, in this case, I'm basically running away from the barrel, so it's like Donkey Kong or something. Yeah, definitely a different case for that. With Power Rangers, well, I guess the setting is the same. Ow. And this is usually the case when it comes to the beat-em-ups. As mentioned, it's pretty straightforward, but also the kind of thing that they're also very good to talk over in terms of things I'm thinking as far as discussion on the program, and then also chat whatever you have to contribute on this or what you want to talk about in terms of Power Rangers. Because, yeah, we mentioned this last year, and this is also, I'll go into this ElecVerse as long as we're at this point. As I said a couple weeks ago, I said, you know, I realized that I was going to have a Streets of Rage 2 here. Actually, I was going to initially have it in September, and then Nocturne had to reschedule for this month for Sonic Mania. So I said, okay, we'll move Sonic Mania to September, as we were planning to have initially August. And I said, okay, Streets of Rage, move up a month. And I realized, wait, chat didn't actually ask for Streets of Rage 2. I mean, not that they're, I think, not wanting to see it. But I said, once a month, viewer request. I promised that. I made that promise. I'm holding to that, damn it. So, what I said is, I said, let me look around. Let me see what else I got. And then it kind of hit me. I said, I remember ElecVerse mentioned, we played Streets of Rage. I said, you know, he said, wants to see stuff with Power Rangers. Talked that enough on the show. Let's do it. And so that's kind of why I picked this one for it. And good choice. So we're going to beat him up, even though we got rid of the one we planned. But alright, so with the power of the Tyrannosaurus, we're here, and there is the Gnarly Gnome. And now, in this case, Jason has the sword, which can be nice, and you have nice overhead slash, which is up in the Y button. Basically, that combo is going to be the same for each character, so it's not going to be changing how they play so much as what their skills are. Also, one thing you're also probably noticing, I think this is probably mentioned in this game, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. the way they did this, they only have one body type as far as the Power Rangers are concerned. So basically what they did is they took basically the one of Jason's here, and they did a palette swap on changing the color, which, to be fair, happened a lot in the 16-bit era with stuff like Mortal Kombat. Fine, not even just as far as the 16-bit consoles, just something like that. To save memory, because I don't remember off the top of my head how big a cartridge this was. I think it was 4 megabytes, I think, but correct me if that's not right. So I guess that in that case, they're thinking, like, you know, how are we going to manage space? And they said, okay, fine, that. Although, hey, even with that, like, yeah, we still have the Power Rangers going. It still looks sort of right, even though it's like, yeah, you know, like, certain things are going to be missing. But alright, so now we're in the factories. How do we get up? Well, you get up by climbing onto these hooks. You hold up and the B button to hit latch on, and you can kind of move left and right on them. You hit up, you do the flip. And I love the look of that. It just looks so cool. Like, yeah, there we go with the great music. Oh! Yeah, be careful not to get hit by the spike machines. Although what you can also do is move left and right and just wait for the right time to flip yourself upwards. But they're going to throw you a little bit of a curveball soon on. Actually, I had to look up how this actually works. Oh, fine. When I first played it, when I bought this a couple months ago. Well, fine, actually, because when I played this growing up, I only rented it, and I didn't really get that far, admittingly. So I didn't actually see up to this point. At least I don't think I did. Alright, yeah, we were in the factory. We got the burning debris. That is definitely something that you want to be wary of. And an interesting thing to it, I guess, because you're saying, like, yeah, it's on fire. So we saw Streets of Rage, we're in the factory with the crushers. In this case, fine, we have the fire, but also you're on the conveyor belts. Like with Streets of Rage on top of that. But it is differentiating itself. Even though we're in a place that seems familiar for a beat-em-up, I still feel like, yeah, this is Power Rangers, we're taking care of the putties, and they're not living very long. And also the environmental hazards can hurt the putties as well, which is something we take advantage of. Alright. Could use some health, though. Good news is that, yeah, you read down in B button to jump down, but the good news is you don't have fall damage, and it's not a case where the screen is going to go away when you do climbing or dropping or anything. Ugh. Try to get rid of the putties here. Yeah, the things with the shields are definitely kind of a hard thing to take care of in a little way, anyway. You kind of beat through it. Kind of the way that Streets of Rage 4 does it now, like that. Where you have the police officers and the riot gear people with the shield. You have to basically either hit through it with something strong or go around it. In that game, it tends to be going around it the easier way. Oh, okay, yo. Yeah, alright, yeah, now we're getting the other things here. So, it's pretty simple as far as how it is, but, as I said, very fun, and gets you that feeling of Power Rangers. Also, the other thing we're gonna have to learn now is, we had this, we did Shinobi 3 last year, but we have wall climbing we got to do, and basically gotta look for is I have to look for the walls like this, jump on the side of it, and hit the B button to jump off. Actually, so it's exactly like Shinobi 3, or Revenge of Shinobi, or actually a lot of games like that, or Ninja Gaiden, perhaps, as far as that. Yeah, particularly because you can't jump up high enough. It looks like Jason is reaching his hand up there to grab that, but it's not going to be enough, so you got to jump off the side of the pipe over there to launch yourself up. Alright. You get that beep. Actually, in some ways, that sounds like something out of Mega Man X, or Mega Man 7 in particular, for the sound. So I'm getting the sense that, okay, along with the design of the music, maybe there's some overlap as far as the audio design as well. Definitely interested kind of looking into this as far as, okay, who was involved with this game. And I guess the Natsume thing, because I know Natsume for Harvest Moon in particular, or as it's known now, that they don't own Story of Seasons. Ow. Yeah, unfortunately you have the fire there, and that can really get me in trouble if I'm not careful, to the point of not being. But in that case, they published that. They didn't develop. So I was thinking, okay, what other stuff did they make? It was interesting to see some of the other games that they were involved with, as I'm mentioning stuff like the Jetsons game on the not the Genesis, the NES, as well as actually another Power Rangers game they made, or two more actually. They made Power Rangers Ninja Storm on the Game Boy Advance, and they also made, we mentioned Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, mentioned the Nintendo 64 version, which is horrible from what I've understood by ElecVerse and other people mentioned that. The PlayStation version is supposed to be better, but I never heard much about the Game Boy Color version, but by the same people made this. So, that's definitely an interesting one as well. And also, as far as the other Power Rangers stuff, Natsume did develop all of the Power Rangers games that were on the Super Nintendo, which were this one, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, the ElecVerse you mentioned, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the Fighting Edition, which came out, I believe, the year after this. Actually, the movie and the Fighting Edition came out that year. And then the last one which I haven't heard many good things about. Let me know, chat, if you're familiar with this one. Power Rangers Zeo Battle Racer, which is basically a takeoff on Super Mario Kart. It looks actually almost the same. It came out in 1996. From what I understand, it's very, I guess, rudimentary, but it was the first representation of Power Rangers Zeo in gaming as far as that. And there's also a pinball game, I believe, that's on the PlayStation that I guess we could show, but it's also the question like with the Sega CD thing, which is the intro has the intro of the television show. I don't know if they give a question on copyright for that or not. I can look into that because I would like to show some of these other ones. Especially that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, which wouldn't be a concern to that. Well, both of them, the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, because I guess that's the interesting thing when it comes to Power Rangers, which is that even though usually the games had the same name, they were all different. There was never really one that was the same. And, I mean, like, as you mentioned that with Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, I'd say, oh, it's the same game across both systems. No, it isn't. But even as far as, like, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, this one and then the movie games, they're by different developers, have different styles, maybe have different genres. As I mentioned, the Genesis editions of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, this one were not Natsume developing, and they were fighting games. Yeah, we were taking down the Gnarly Gnome. Yeah, he teleports a lot, and that's really where it gets a little difficult. Particularly when it gets to his next form. But in the meantime, you just kind of watch where he goes and hit him. And use your overhead slash like that to avoid it. Oh, actually, I do like the attention to detail there, which I think is something from the TV show as well, which when he does the, just the shockwave thing there, he plays the accordion and shoots it out. Yeah, right here. If he does that, he'll transport somewhere random, and sometimes you get lucky with it, but he will hurt with the rake of his. But this is also where I use the bomb, so that feasibly I cause damage and give a flashing light case of that. It will do a lot of damage that way, so it kind of takes the guesswork out of this, because this is the hardest part, for sure, of this, and I think I might die, but I'm going to try my damnedest not to. I don't know if there's a pattern to where he goes, but I think he usually will come close to you. I almost have him, I think. And also, good news is that when you're hitting him, you are invincible at that point, so it's not like, oh, you're gonna touch him and you're gonna die, thankfully, so that's what I've realized, I think I'm seeing. Which is probably better also when he goes up, so it's like, yeah, just wait for him to come down to me. Okay, I hit him once. I was like, okay, is that enough? Yeah, I almost have him. I can feel it. If you don't have a whole lot of time to hit him, so in some ways you have to either be quick or have him so that he appears right in front of you. Oh, shit! Or me die. Alright, fine. Okay, fine. I was wrong. When you die at a boss, you just go back to the boss. So that's good that way. Yeah, because I think there's checkpoint after you become Ranger, and then there's checkpoint on the boss. But in this case, since I died, I don't have use of my bomb anymore, because it does not replenish on death. So yeah, we're going to have to beat him the old-fashioned way. Which isn't too bad, it's just really the second form, when he teleports around. But even then, I almost had him. It's also been interesting what I guess to do the test of this, because actually, I technically did the test play of this, actually after we played Tetris 2, because that was one of the shorter shows I had in a while. And it was before I had to do my stuff on Saturday to, have the show tonight, or for the Friday last time for that. Damn, that hurts. I did not realize that with the rake. But I said, okay, let me just take a look at this, because this might be the idea for the viewer request, and I finished in like an hour and 15 minutes. So I said, okay, fine, this is going to be our game. But that being said, I think I can get at least 2 hours of this, assuming I don't keep dying to Gnarly Gnome here. Oh, actually, maybe it's better if I do, just because, like, hey, it'll be a little longer. Yeah. Alright, come on down. Yeah, and it's usually when he appears above, it's good, because he can't hit you, usually. But also that you don't have a whole lot of time to hit him. Okay, fine. In that case, you can sort of predict it into a jump. Ooh. Okay, and good news is when you hit him, it also does stop his energy ball. Damn! Christ, that was one hit. Alright, crap. Yeah, this would be embarrassing to get a game over here, although, then maybe if I do, at least I could show off what the game over looks like. Fine, use the upper slash that I think is more powerful in the case of, Jason here, although certain characters are not going to be that case. Oh, crap. Alright, I don't want him to rake me, pretty much. I said rake, by the way, just to clarify that. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It looks like a rake, or it looks like a, it's like a till or something. So, I guess the Harvest Moon thing might be sort of in line, even though, as I mentioned, that was a semi-published case. Okay, good. Alright, now I'm getting good luck of where he's appearing. Actually, alright, fine. Here's the strategy, I guess. Stand up here, because there's more of a chance he'll appear in line, and then just, you know what, fine. In that case, I'm gonna not even look at the screen, pretty much. I'm gonna grab a bottle of water, because I'm running on the small ones tonight. Just keep hitting that Y button, I should be able to have him. Yeah, okay, there we go. So here's your strategy. Stand up there, so then he'll teleport only around that area. Alright, that is area 2 done. Alright, so yeah, gave Jason a little bit more trouble, although fitting, I guess, for the show, because, hey, the Power Rangers will run into certain cases of, like, hey, getting their asses kicked, like the first episode of the show is the case, but hey, when they get their Power Morphers out, they're gonna run. Alright, next on the list, let's take Zach. Who on the show is, of course, the one who had good dancing skills, and I remember in the first episode of the show, he would do that dance element to do with fighting, but he had the skills with it, and in this game, how he tends to work is, he has a good flip jump that way. His kick in the air is a little delayed, but what he does do that's interesting, well, like, kind of the kick that way, he has a very high throw. And also, you can go down in the water and it will not hurt you, even though it looks like it's poison water. And there's the spiders, so yeah, not the realistic kind, so I think it was what Crusader64 was mentioning when we played Majora's Mask last week. Also, you have the electrified, ice blocks, I think? Oh, yes, he's, stabbing me. Fly back, my fan finally bit the dust. Okay. As far as fan for, you know, heat, or fine, cooling down, I'm gonna assume yes. Yeah, because it has been hot a lot of places around the country as far as I've been recently. I've been running that as well. I ran into cases recently. It was like, hey, my car's air conditioning is working and then leaking in, you know, coolant into the passenger side compartment. So like, okay, I had to get that looked at, but that's all set. And it's weird that it wasn't that the aircon wasn't working. It was just like, oh, that's the idea. So, hey, of course, also, if you're at home for that, yeah, that's the other thing he does. His punch combo is basically the split kick in the air, which definitely looks really nice. And, yeah, I want to avoid the spiders there. Ooh. Or, to go to the angry video game nerd perspective, spiders! Punch them! So yeah, we are going to punch the spiders. Yeah, so the challenge really here is just wait till those things become not electrified and then do the kick there. And also, because you're in tight quarters, you don't have much room to jump. And in that case, when you come out, you will also have to be careful as far as the throw. Yeah, he throws very high as far as the air. He'll basically do like an overhead. So that can be pretty useful in certain areas. Alright, there's my health. Thank God. Yeah, you do not get a whole lot of items as far as like health pickups and things in this game, but you'll get enough that is like, alright, fine. When you need it, you might be in a good shape. Alright, Chase, we're going through the sewer. Actually, I was doing the test on this. It was interesting because I thought, you know, the water there is poisonous, but thankfully it is not. Everyone says Zach looks like a monkey. I mean, as far as how, you know, agile he is, I mean, I get that idea as well. I mean, clever and brave. I mean, maybe there's that idea as well. Perhaps. As far as how that operates, I guess, I don't know, on the show or also with, this game, or feasibly... Okay, so he was not in the movie game, as far as I remember. Yeah, and on the show, by the way, I guess we could talk about the people who were, the characters on the show. Yeah, it was Walter Jones who was on the show, who was, as far as other stuff he did, he was a Harlan Band on the show Space Cases, was on Nickelodeon. Actually, I remember seeing that, and actually when I saw, like, I was like, wait a minute, he looked familiar at the time. I saw maybe a little more of that than I did with Power Rangers, to some degree, but then... remembering the theme song of the show saying, like, Harlan Band leaps before he looks, which is, I guess fitting to, Zach in this one, and actually on the show to an extent. Oh, wait, did I... Okay, well, I went back at that. Oh, I just jumped out of the way, because it looked like I did some kind of flip. There is a flip you can do when you transform, which is gonna happen right now with, Eye Guy. Yeah, this game, his face looks a bit off. I mean, yeah, as far as, I guess, how that's looking, I mean, I guess compared to... I'm trying to think about this. As far as the other Power Rangers games, honestly, I don't know if the other ones actually showed the characters in their human form. At least I don't think they did. The Genesis version of what I saw, it's mostly the Rangers. I don't know what the Game Boy version of this is. The Game Gear, I think, is mostly Rangers, if not all. And then Sega CD, I guess it looks right because, as I mentioned, it's FMV footage of the TV show, so in that case it looks right. But I guess, now that I think about that, I guess maybe the Natsume things was them developing it. You definitely got some weird stuff as far as the face is more stylized, and this is an area where, by the way, oh, right. Okay, I never actually went back to that first. You have to crouch down when you get to an area like this. You basically hit diagonally down, and you can do the crawl. But, I mean, yeah, that's an interesting thing as far as it, because I guess the polygonal limitations, but then again, I don't know, would you say that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie game, even though Zach's not in it, kind of maybe does that stuff a little better? It's the same developers as it was. Alright, yeah, barrier crawling. Yeah, you will crawl the putty with the spike thingy there. And yeah, you just hit into him with the axe like that. So in that case, it's going to be set to it. I mean, yeah, it does look a little, I guess, weird as far as how the look is. Also, yeah, I gotta be careful going through the vents, not hit with the, I guess, poisonous gas or something. Yeah, because I never really kind of thought that through, so good observation to that. To kind of get a sense of, yeah, I mean, maybe it looks like there's some, well, I'll tell you what I've gotten a little bit with it, that you get the sense that maybe there was attention to detail in the sense of, okay, try to make the characters look like the show with the confines of, I guess, the semi-small cartridge space, I guess, and the color palettes of the Super Nintendo, I guess the design of everything as we're falling down. But that is, okay, I was gonna say, yeah, you can't move when you're falling, but no, you can. And now we're getting to swimming cases where, by the way, when you're swimming, you can't attack. So stay out of the way of the putties and wait till the water goes down so you can start hitting them again. But I guess with the stuff, with the graphics, with the visuals, I guess the idea that they kind of seem like they only have a couple pixels to their faces. Oh, and Ninja Warriors, so it's a good comparison, because that was, I believe Taito made that I think this game plays a lot like, I think. From aware of, or there's the original Ninja Warriors. I guess they remade it on Switch or something? I'm gonna buy it. Yeah, okay, sounds cool to that. I don't know if I've actually ever played that one or whichever one it is now. Maybe it's both of them feasibly. And in this case, you have to hit the gate there to get going. Yeah, it definitely gets good stuff going as far as the, the beat 'em up case, because as far as that, I fitting that, and this is also where they're asking you to do the wall jumps, so definitely like Ninja Gaiden or Shinobi or something like that. Also, by the way, let me, before I go on, showcase one thing. When you're in range, you hit the B button twice, you do a backflip, which can be useful for avoiding attacks from enemies and particularly bosses. So we'll definitely show that. Ow. Oh, okay, I didn't get hit. I thought I got hit. For some reason, I was looking at that saying, no, I just got hit, and I, thought that. Ow. Yeah, but feel free to go into that more as far as Ninja Warriors, because actually it's interesting. When I was talking with people today, I was specifically talking to Gemini96 about some stuff. He was mentioning, not exactly the same kind of game. He was mentioning Heart of Darkness on the PlayStation, which is kind of a puzzle platform case. Kind of a little bit like Out of This World, a little bit like Flashback, which I know I mentioned Flashback on the show at one point. I do have that Switch version of that. So we play that at some point as we go along with it. Yeah, feel free to go into that and anything else as far as gaming, Power Rangers, or anything else. Okay, now in this case, though, the water's going to go up and down. As I mentioned, you can't fight when you're in the water. You also feasibly can't walk out of the water, so you basically have to wait to avoid the putties. So yeah, the putties are walking under the water, so they have... okay, I love that, yeah, he's just sticking the knife out, because yeah, he keeps missing. So just do that to avoid getting hit, and then wait till it comes down. Oh, it's the Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors. Yes. Is that Taito who made that? Or am I thinking something totally different? I mean, either way, I will also put a picture of what you're referencing to this, because, hey, it also is something that I've heard good things. I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, so there's something to be said about that, the excitement of something like that, especially, I guess, when you're into the milieu or the type of game that it is. I will definitely put a reference, as I mentioned, to what some of these things are in a couple days. We'll do the edit. Uh-oh. You just swim down. Yeah, because that's kind of been, I guess, my thing as far as, I guess, some of the stuff I've been sort of playing. I mean, in my case, really, most of what I've really been waiting on has been the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection that's out in a couple weeks, and then the Nipponichi Classics 3 collection, which I have pre-order on. Oh, is Natsume developed it and Taito published it? Okay. Actually, I think when I was looking at the stuff of this, that might be where I was thinking of Ninja Warriors from... Ninja Warriors? Yeah, Ninja Warriors, the Ninja Saviors. Okay. Oh, no, Ninja Saviors is the sequel to that, I guess. Or the original. Okay, fine. Natsume developed the original with Taito publishing it, and then this is the new one. Okay. Awesome. So I guess it goes to something what we've said a lot on this show is that the thought that, well, games that maybe had a niche audience back in the day when they came out, and stuff even I haven't played, or maybe, I don't know if you played it in the days when it was around, that they're kind of finding a new life, and feasibly there's nothing that's off, either off limits or off of the potential of being able to make a return. I mean, I mentioned that with the Crusade Nerd 64, he's going to be showing us chat arts in a couple of months, and for that one, the thought that I say, like, yeah, don't lose hope of them re-releasing that, because we could get a re-release at some point, or maybe something on PlayStation Plus Premium for bringing that to new people who don't want to pay $150 on the game itself. Although what he was showing me, I'm saying, like, that looks like a game that's worth $150 to my mind. Ninja Savior is a remake of Ninja Warriors, which was on Super Nintendo. Yeah, and I think, I'm trying to remember, there are some Natsume things that are on the Switch Online for Super Nintendo's side. Is that one of them, or is Ninja Warriors one of them? I don't think it is, but they've been putting tons of stuff up there. As I mentioned at one point, they put Harvest Moon for Japan because they could only put in Japan because of licensing reasons. There's Natsume Championship Wrestling, which is up there. There's Spanky's Quests, which came up there a couple months ago. And I don't know if that, I mean, they've been doing a lot of beat-em-ups on that service. As we're coming up to Guy, so let's beat him. Getting a little bit of a Guns for Heroes vibe out of him as far as the design of the character. He's just lumbering around with the eyes, or... Okay, yeah, just avoid what he's doing. Oh, yeah, when he does the crouch down, he'll do the eye laser. He's standing like that, he'll do the eye laser too. Okay, this is why I love the fact that when you touch the enemies, they don't hurt you. They do the crouch attack, and then just wait till he does that, so you avoid getting hit. Oh, shit, yeah. Oh, right, I forgot about that. When you have your health at, full blue like that, that also means that... Okay, I can do the flip to avoid it. That means that when you take damage, it'll just go down as far as color, so you won't lose health for a little bit of time until you get hurt a little more. There's also Wild Guns, which is... Oh, right, Wild Guns is on Switch Online. Doesn't make sense considering there's only a Switch port that has more characters than its remake, or the remake. Wild Guns Remastered, I guess, or... Maybe it's right, remixed music as well on top of that. Yeah, I mean, fair enough, although I'm trying to remember... Fine, we'll use this flashing light warning on the Mastodon with a rock slide. So Zach used rock slide, super effective. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but then again, it might be also the thing that, hey, there are people who'd want to have, I guess, frame of reference to the remake for the original, even though, from when I saw the remake, it looks a lot like the original. But the thing is, the original costs a fortune. And did I get him already? Yeah, I did. And when you get to that, he backflips to the center of the screen. So that is the end of the third area. Yeah, because the thing about... Let's talk Natsume, because honestly, in some ways, I'm realizing this is, I think, the first time we're playing anything by them, published or developed. A lot of the games of theirs from that era cost quite a bit of money. I mean, I know Harvest Moon, which is, I think, the rarest game on the Super Nintendo I have, it's a $400 or $500 game now. And in that case, if you have a Wii U or a new 3DS, get on buying that now for that, or do the Japanese Switch thing so you can play it there, because that costs a lot of money. Wild Guns is another one that's like $600. So maybe the thought is that Natsume's thinking, well, you know, we'll show up all these other things that we have to new audiences, especially for some that people missed. And I missed Wild Guns when it came out, and Harvest Moon is another one. I didn't miss it when it came out. I wanted to play that badly, but one that it went up in price, and I did not expect that, even though it was a very late release. It was 1987 for that one, so actually 25 years since Harvest Moon this year for that. Alright, next up, we're gonna play as Trini. Yeah, the saber-toothed tiger perspective. I mean, I get the idea, you're right, of the thought of, you know, why have both versions of the game, but I'll tell you, sometimes that's a little bit of fascination for me in some ways. And I've mentioned this before, and we've done this on the show multiple times. The thought of, hey, you have a game that's on multiple systems, and why would you necessarily re-release every version? But sometimes it'd be an interesting compare and contrast as far as what do they do differently, how, or for that matter, as you're mentioning with Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue a couple months ago, the thought that it's horrible on Nintendo 64, but it's pretty good on PlayStation, and it's a question mark on the Game Boy Color, from what I'm aware of. As we're in the high-rise with Trini, who, by the way, she has, I think, the most effective just jumping kick when you're not moving, or jumping attack when you're not moving, and those things will not hurt you. She also is the most agile with the flip there, and the kick does have a good reach, as well as the palm hand. I do love that. And she actually kind of does the choncho of Blaze from Streets of Rage 2. So hey, we're not playing Streets of Rage 2 tonight, as we're just beating the door down now. But hey, it's still implied it's there, and be careful with the chandeliers, they'll collapse. But yeah, I get that as well, because sometimes there'd be a fascination to certain things for that. I mean, we're gonna have that with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, because it's gonna have, well, the arcade version of Turtles in Time along with the Super Nintendo one, and all 3 of the Tournament Fighters editions. Super Nintendo, Genesis, and NES. And NES is a $400 game, so at that point I'm very curious for it, but if you're thinking like, hey, you just want the best one, feasibly with Wild Guns, it has more content, so just stick with that feasibly. Okay, that is also a very rare sighting, chicken leg. So, like with a lot of beat-em-ups as it is, you're either getting, I guess, pork chop and something like Castlevania, or you're getting the chicken, or the leg, perhaps, to get yourself health recovered. Alright. While avoiding the chandeliers. But definitely is interesting, too, that, I guess, but it is, I guess, you played, Wild Arms, was it remastered, remixed? I'll put the name of what it is if, you don't know. Would you recommend that one? Because actually, I'll tell you, in my case, with Wild Guns, it was on the Wii U's Virtual Console, or it is on the Wii U's Virtual Console for a little bit longer while that store's still up. I bought it then because I didn't have a Switch. Actually, it was before the Switch Online, classic consoles thing was even around. So at that point I said, this is a game that's $600 and it's $8. So I'm like, yeah, I'm curious that way, but in terms of the remake, would you recommend the remake? I mean, I'd definitely be curious to see it, and feasibly whenever you want to do Wild Guns, I could get the remake and show that, or feasibly because, hey, both of them are on Switch, we could show one primarily, which we tend to do sometimes of that, show one of the versions primarily, I guess the remake, and then see, okay, how the Super Nintendo game look, because I actually do like the Super Nintendo game. It definitely is a unique one. It's kind of a bit of a cover-based shooter in its way, a little. I mean, you're kind of shooting into the background, almost like a gallery shooter, kind of. But you're also kind of like doing quick jumps out of the way, or kind of trying to take cover a little. It's almost a little bit of precursor stuff like Gears of War or Kill Switch, if you played that on the Xbox and PlayStation 2 from Namco, I believe it was. And I guess it goes to the idea of like the Wild West thing, which is not something you see a whole lot. When we get our next enemy, this is Genie. Yeah, so with power of Saber-Tooth Tiger, we're set. Yeah, so that's how it always works with the stages, by the way. When you run into them, you have... when you see the main boss, you do morph, and it's morphin time, and then you are a Power Ranger for the rest of the level, and you do recover your health when you do transform. So yeah, those Power Morphers are doing more than just transforming you. And I, of course, have her weapon, which is the Size, which has a short reach, but I guess they hit hard? Well, that being said, as I said, for this one, it's that, okay, fine, you're still going to be able to get some decent reach with it, cause damage. So definitely is interesting to play with each of the characters, see what they do, and then also get a sense of, okay, fine, I can still play with each of them without getting a sense that, oh, I'm going to be lost if I choose someone different. And also, I believe that if you get a game over, which I somehow haven't yet, but I'll watch, I probably will, you don't lose access to characters, so in that case, I believe it's just in order to continue, I think. At least I believe it is. Oh! Alright, but the elevator is collapsing, which is... Okay, this is something unique, because usually at the elevator levels, usually they'll go up in some cases, but you have to climb up here, and do it in time, otherwise, that is a bottomless pit, and you'll die. Shit! Alright, fine, I did die, because I hit B to drop. Alright, we'll see how the game over is. Alright, yeah, there you go. So there's a continue, there's a password. Alright, yeah, sorry for that, but, that being said, I guess it'll take, an hour and 30 minutes then instead of an hour 15. But alright, fine, we'll take Trini back. And you do start at the beginning of the area when you get game over, but I guess it's good, because at that point I have extra lives. And honestly, I don't think you get extra lives that much in this game, which I don't remember the Power Rangers movie game, at least the Super Nintendo one, doing, because that's the only one of those I played. I never played that Genesis one, but I want to play the Genesis one. As we've mentioned, it looks like what Streets of Rage 4 was before Streets of Rage 4 actually came into existence. So, in that case, yeah, my curiosity's peaked. I know you're having a fun time getting the elements as far as Power Rangers is concerned with it. And I said, hey, it's worth, showing that off, especially because I was realizing this. I guess it's fitting we're doing it this month because the show debuted in 1993 in August. It was August 28th. So, in that case, alright, I guess we're being in line a little bit with this. Okay. Yeah, just waiting for the, I guess the spider thing, the spider sentry to shoot them. Alright, in this case, fine, I don't even need to necessarily move, but fine, if they get too close, I'm gonna be in trouble. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, I want to see something. It sounded like it shot into the door. Hang on, come on. Oh no, that was just me punching it, never mind. Alright, fine, I'll try the next door. It looked like the laser was destroying the door, which would be pretty hilarious if the laser sentry decided to destroy it. I mean, I guess in this case, yeah, I mean... Actually, here's the thing, and feel free to go into this ElecVerse if you know, I'm not completely sure. Did, Rita Repulsa tend to have, like, I guess, sentry bots like that? I know the putties, obviously. And some of the other characters, some of whom are not in this game, like Goldar. Goldar's not in this one, he's in the Genesis game. But, we'll see other characters, or we have seen other characters we went along so far. I guess feasibly, as I hinted to with the opening of this, if we go back to when I posted this a couple days to see what the opening was, definitely getting the Power Rangers element going on. With that, the idea that, Zordon and Alpha 5 are not in this game either. Again, Genesis version, but also, well, I think they're in the Genesis version. And they also are in the Power Rangers Fighting Edition game as well. Heard very good things about, and it seemed very interesting from what I saw. Not really with the sentry bots. Okay, so, I mean, to be fair with Rita Repulsa, I guess her idea was like, you know what, she's just gonna conquer Earth. She just sends a big robot out, or she sends Goldar or something out to cause trouble to take the city over. And usually that's gonna be enough. She probably wouldn't... I mean, she'd have the foot soldiers of, the putties, the same way, I guess, the Shredder, or... Yeah, Shredder has with the, Foot Clan. But then again, it's always gonna build up to the big, you know, defense force element, whether it's, in her case, Goldar, some of the robots or other creatures, and then the Technodrome, Krang, and everybody for Turtles. Which I guess is fitting to bring that up because, hey, this was seen in some ways as a little bit of a successor to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Kind of, in a lot of ways, hits some of the same buttons with, I guess, the fandom of it, the style of what it was doing, and the idea that it was something that was a massive phenomenon, and is still seen as a phenomenon now, or still something that is endured to this very day, especially with Power Rangers. And to think, it's been almost 50 years since Power Rangers, entirely if you take Super Sentai into account for it. That was 1975, so yeah, 50 years of, you know, the Sentai action robot, I guess sort of kaiju monster stuff going on top of it. So it's kind of a mix of a lot of things. Stuff like that, stuff like Godzilla. I've heard Ultraman a lot as far as how it's been, you know, compared, and Voltron, amongst other things. So the idea that still there is that connection that people are having with this, including some of the newer games based on this, of which, I know there's that fighting game, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I don't know how it is, but I get the sense they keep doing updates and things to it, as far as adding new characters and things. So clearly people are liking the idea that, you know, more modern stuff with Power Rangers. Is maybe the thought that with Hasbro as the license now, from what I've read, because I know there's a question that Disney had the oh fine, Saban has elements of it, Toei I believe had elements to it, I think Disney for a period, but I think it's Hasbro now. I know they kind of want to do more stuff recent as far as, or do more recent stuff or newer stuff with Power Rangers. So the thought of, okay, this being a big franchise, it's still going, because how many franchises, or how many subsets of Power Rangers and I guess Super Sentai are there? I think they're in the double digits, feasibly in the more than 10 number double digits, from what I've gathered. Which is interesting to see that, you know, this has held on so long. In fact, I don't even know if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has that many incarnations of itself, which is saying something. Although I guess with Turtles, they also started with, well, the comic and then the series in the 80s, and it was kind of going in a couple directions. Still, okay, I gotta be more wary of that, like, stay in the middle. Also, I'll not do what I did last time, which is hit the B button to jump off of this, because when you're on this, you hit up and B to hold, but you hit B, it drops, you hit up on the D-pad to jump up. That was my fault, like, as we're going up on the building. Although, to be fair, I'll say this, it makes sense that in that area, you know, we're gonna be in trouble that way. Because, like, fine, the elevator's collapsing, I was stupid enough to jump down, but either way, oh. I do love the city skyline as well. Oh, crap. Actually, that's the other thing I probably should do, is grab onto this. Just wait for that to go, and then hit. So, actually, that's the interesting thing, I guess, about this one, as far as a beat-em-up's concerned, and definitely a bit different from what we played so far with Streets of Rage and Final Fight, which is that it's kind of a bit of a platforming game in some ways. In this case, yeah, the putties have guns, which I guess they did on the show? I don't know. Yeah, chat, that's gonna be your answer, because I'm not as well-versed in Power Rangers as other people might be. Which is fine for the purpose of this, but it's like, okay, they have guns, so yeah, be careful that way. Alright. Getting beautiful sunset out there. I love just the look of this. The colors, the kind of atmosphere with the music. It's good stuff. But also, we're getting into a case where we do have bottomless pits, or fine, falling off the building. That would not be fun for Power Rangers, or the Power Rangers. So hang on and just crawl, or climb across, or shimmy across. And also, yeah, because we work at a construction site, yeah, they are dropping their steel I-beams down, and they will hurt the putties if they touch them. So, you stay out of the way, but yeah, there you go, boom, right on his head. Yeah, keep walking in there. I mean, as is usually mentioned, the thought that, yeah, you know, the grunts of any evil character in anything, really, are not very smart. Like, yeah, look up, my friend, but not happening. Okay, alright, so here's the thing. Okay, now I can make the jump back here, because I was thinking, well, either I'll do that, or I will do the backflip, so I can kind of make a little more of a jump back, but I don't know if it would have been enough to make that, you know, I'm gonna try something. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have. Because I won't think I don't really go that high for it, so in that case, yeah, it wouldn't have helped. Alright, now we're getting the gun turrets. I guess a little bit like the bone towers in Castlevania, a little. And just like the bone towers, are usually by places where you can fall and die, so not pleasant. But the good news is you're only going to really see them in this stage as we go along. Okay. Alright, there's more health to, you know, get my health bar. Okay, actually, further than just the blue, so I have it kind of in a bit of a purple. So as long as I don't fall and die here, or do the backflip there, I should be alright. Alright, this is also a little bit of mini boss. I guess it's the, I don't know, Regis Weather Balloon, perhaps? I don't think there's a name for this thing of what I saw, you know, looking up. Although, if there is, I will edit here saying, oh wait, no, there was a name, I just didn't take it down. I mean, here I took down a ton of notes for this for the purpose of, hey, certain things to bring up when it came to the show. I guess the people who were involved with the show, the actors, actresses, everything else. There's about 27 seasons. Okay, so pretty long running as far as, and I guess that includes the Super Sentai stuff as well, I would think, yes? Although then again, given that it's been 28 years this year, no, the 29 years, I guess it would make sense that there would be that, yeah, that's gonna come up for me again, right? Yeah, just waiting for him to come up, the balloon, to go. Yeah, Super Sentai is about 46. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, that was a lot. Oh, yeah, right there. Because they put that right over that. So I was like, uh-oh, I don't want to get myself killed. Thank you for indicating that, because I knew it was a lot. I mean, hey, it's almost 50 years since Super Sentai. Clearly that hit a nerve, or that hit a chord with people. For the purpose of that, I know you've mentioned that as well. And feel free, if you want to go into also other elements of, like, how you got into it, what made it appealing to you as we were fighting Genie. It's a different case of the Genie we had with Aladdin. Now, how he tends to work is, at least I think it's he anyway, he throws certain things out. He'll throw the swords out, which will come towards you. He'll then also do the laser thing, which I do want to get in place for. Oh, and the fireballs, okay. Also my bomb, I definitely want to hold on to that. Yeah, alright, because also the electric eels, which come from the bottom to start, so that you get the 3 there. And the knives, I believe, will come from where you are. When you're close enough, they feasibly won't hurt you. Okay, fine, I'm not doing a good job of them, you know, not hurting me. Those are actually pretty easy to avoid, because as long as you just stay in the center of it, you should be fine. But I also got to be a little more careful. Ow. Fine, alright, he's done. Flashing light, by the way. Oh, actually, on this level, it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference. Like, Okay, I think I got him. I think. Yeah, okay, good. Thank God. I was like, I didn't know I was going to live long. Alrighty. So that is Area 4. And 1970 as far as the password. 5 years before Super Sentai began. Alright, so we have shown off Trini, we showed Billy, we showed Jason and Zach, and lastly, Kimberly. Played in the show by Amy Jo Johnson, who actually was interesting looking into stuff she did. She was actually, I don't know if you're familiar with this movie, Suzy Q. It was on the Disney Channel. She was the main character in that. And I remember when I looked that up, I said, wait, I remember seeing that movie. I remember who that was. I didn't know it actually was her at the time. And the other thing I found also is that she actually has made a couple of movies, like written and directed films. She made a movie called The Space Between that came out, I think, in 2014, I believe, which she wrote and directed, and she also starred in with Michael Ironside from Splinter Cell and from, actually, Total Recall as well, which is going to be fitting when we get to Splinter Cell eventually. I definitely want to do that game. And she also made this movie a couple years ago called Tammy's Always Dying, which starred Felicity Huffman. So it was interesting to see the backgrounds of some of these people, but also in some ways to kind of have to pause and take a bit of a sad case with some of them, particularly Thuy Trang, who played Trini, who unfortunately I didn't know this. She died at 27. She was in a car crash in 2001, and I was really reading, like, okay, what else did she do? Which really was a couple things. She had a bit part in, or 2 bit parts in Spy Hard and The Crow City of Angels, but then I found out that, oh, she'd passed away. It's like, especially at that age, you know, that young age. We've mentioned that before on the show. Before that, like, that's always, you know, a tragic thing for it, as we're also seeing with Anne Heche, basically now. Fine, definitely now, but it's basically just a matter of time before they say, yeah, that's the case with her, unfortunately. But it's also interesting, as I mentioned, going into some of the stuff that other people have done, or other people on the show had done. Even Ron Wasserman, who did the music for this, or the theme song. Because I was saying, okay, I know this stuff. I know they actually released, when Rock Band 2 had their Rock Band Network stuff, they released a couple songs of his, which were, I think, American Hero and Fight Back, I believe, which were not tied to Power Rangers explicitly, but sounded a lot like it. At least I don't think they were. And he also, was looking into this as far as some of the stuff he'd worked on. He did the music for some recent stuff like Deal or No Deal and Hot in Cleveland, as well as the thing that kind of surprised me was he did the theme song for X-Men. You know, that that was his as well, so yeah, no wonder why it's so catchy. I can't recall how I got into the series, so it's the kind of thing that I guess it's feasibly been a part of you for so long that it's just something that has always feasibly been there. Because, I mean, clearly, I know you've mentioned this, we played the other games on the show. I guess when we talked about Sailor Moon, because in some ways there's a little bit of an overlap to that, as far as others, and some of the beat-em-ups on top of that, to some of these things, it seems like that's a big interest of yours, and one that, in a lot of ways, just kind of hits you. Sometimes, I guess there's something that said that. Look, I might be asking, hey, to chat and anybody else, how do you necessarily get into it? Sometimes they might not remember in the sense of, hey, it was just there, and they kind of were connected to it, and just, it's kind of almost become a part of them. Alright, fine, we have our next boss. That is, the Dark Warrior. So yeah, it is time for the power of Pterodactyl. So yeah, we have, Kimberly as Pterodactyl. She also has the only ranged, up Y attack, which just shoots the arrows out, but they do not do much damage. So feasibly, we're using it just to hit the putties from distance, which is definitely a useful thing, or just, as I mentioned, just taking the bone, just hitting them with it. I believe it does take a lot of hits to kill anything with this, but if nothing else, it also means that she is the only character who can attack from a far distance. I mean, I guess, as far as distance is concerned, it's her and Billy, they're probably the best characters in the game, but also the fact that the arrows aren't going to do much damage. I believe it's, you know, we'll do a count. Next time we see an enemy, I'll kill him with this. Oh, well, fine. After the barrels come out of the way, alright, backflip into the barrels. 1, 2... Okay, also, it won't necessarily stop them that well, or that easily, so... Alright, so 15 arrows. So yeah, I put 15 arrows into his head and he didn't die until he died. So I was like, alright, fine. I guess these are, I don't know, maybe not, you know, the pointed tip arrows perhaps, but then again, like, well, no. I think on the show they were. It's like, no, she can handle that, no problem. And clearly, she's handling it. And also, the smart thing when it comes to the element of the ranged weapon, if you can't hit anything or do much damage from a distance, just take it and just hit them with it. So why not? Alright, and yeah, the stumps, I believe, do have items underneath, I think. Or no, maybe they don't. Oh, no, the barrel does. Okay, or I can pick up the barrel and throw. Yeah, so we're going into the underground cave. So yeah, definitely getting a good perspective of, I guess, where you're going. Actually, with the Power Ranger stuff, you tend to go in caves a lot, I've noticed. Of what I've seen of the ones of what I've seen of ones I haven't played and of the ones I have played. Also, by the way, when you throw the barrel, it will explode no matter where you toss it, so that's going to be going away regardless. Alright, but so far, we have everything going on alright. Actually, I'm trying to remember, I think on test play I was able to hit those things. And there's the sentry drone again, although they are getting better because they shoot the energy bolts across the screen, so you have to be in the middle to be ready for that. Alright. I used to go back, I guess, as we were talking to stuff with the actors or actresses who were the characters. You mentioned when we did, I remember you when we played Streets of Rage, you mentioned David Yost, who is Billy, who, as far as other stuff he's done, let's see. Let's see where my notes are as far as him. It's fine, yeah, she can stay there, she can wait. Actually, mostly, in his case, he mostly has been Billy. Honestly, I mean, in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, of which it's him and Amy Jo Johnson were the only ones from the show, the original show anyway, that were in that, as far as the main characters, I should say. Fine, main characters, the Rangers. Oh, let me put it that way. And Power Rangers Zero. But also, he did, the only other thing I found that I guess I kind of had some familiarity with, he was an associate producer on the TV show Temptation Island on Fox. Which I remember seeing ads for that all the time back in the day. It was like, okay, that seemed very weird to that. But like, yeah, David Yost produced that. So, it is an interesting case. And again, to go back to some of the other people like Walter Jones, I mentioned him for Space Cases. He also Boomer in Brink, talking about stuff from Disney Channel as far as that. And also games, because he was in, he did voice work in Earth Defense Force 2025, which kind of has like a Sentai Kaiju monster feel to it, as well as Red Dead Redemption, and one that got my attention, I don't know if you're familiar with this, Freedom Fighters, which came out on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox from IO Interactive. People make the Hitman games. They're making the new James Bond game that's coming out eventually. That was interesting to see that, oh yeah, voice performance that way, and then also with Austin St. John, mostly the Red Ranger, really, as far as Power Rangers Zeo, and as well as this, and he was also in Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, so they were able to get him back to do the re-recorded, or new dialogue for the purpose of that. But yeah, now we're in the, I guess, laboratory of, I guess, Rita, but Rita's usually not on this planet. She's usually kind of seeing everything from a distance and then complaining about, oh, the Ranger screwed my plan up again, so I'll send another monster next time. I mean, I think it's almost, or it's like Queen Beryl, as we mentioned with Sailor Moon. Eventually, she gets to the point where she'll get her hands dirty, but initially, like, no, just send somebody else out to take care of that. Yeah, so far going okay as far as beating everybody. Yeah, in that case, also just beat the place down. So yeah, we're ransacking this place, hitting the computers, hitting the putties, hitting the turrets. Yeah, nothing is gonna be surviving here. Also, whatever that was, I guess I destroyed it too quickly to see, although I think there might be another one. Also, alright. Oh, turret. Okay, so good thing I did destroy it quickly. Also, yeah, I was trying to hit those computers, I guess I had to throw something into it. Alright, yeah, the turret, fine. Alright, that's what that is. Yeah, consider a little bit of a preview to when we do GoldenEye in 2 weeks. Yeah, we're gonna be running into turrets, or drone guns, as the game calls them, a lot in that, and yeah. Rodorov and I are gonna have our work cut out for us doing the single player on that. And then Nocturne's gonna be involved for the multiplayer element of it. Which is fitting that way, because I know she has the familiarity with that, and as far as him and I, you know, running that whole game 00 Agent, well, most of it. There's 2 levels we're not doing, and I think you can probably guess which ones they are. At least one. Okay. Right here. I'm waiting here for a second. Yeah, the alarm. You get the laser beam, you hear that woot! We hear that woot, woot, woot. It's a warning, so basically be crouched in areas so you get hit by it or go up here. Yeah, the putties can go there as well, but you can knock them down and they can get hit by it. So yeah, in that case, yeah, just wait, just let them fall into it. If they're coming down or if they're up there, but that might not always be the case. And what you want to do is basically, when you hear the alarm going off, basically just crouch down in the lowest area you can. In this case, no, I don't even necessarily have to. Yeah, or we'll be doing something like that when we do Dynamite Heady. Well, again, for me, because I played it already, but we play it for the official record of the show, because there's a level that's exactly like that. In fact, like this game, it's one of the last levels that does that. Alright. Just keep giving the beat down putties and let the laser take care of the rest. Okay, fine. In that case, it's good I am crouching, so yeah, if I did put my head up... Also, by the way, when it is going down, it's not gonna hurt you, so... And like a lot of the games, yeah, you just gotta beat that thing. I do love that effect, though. It definitely looks nice as far as, I guess... I think it is the Mode 7 thing for what Super 10 is doing. Alright, down they go. Just keep hitting. Alright, and it is gone. Yeah, there's a turret, but it is too high and out of the way, so unless I use my bomb, I don't want to do that yet. Yeah, it's not gonna do much. Although I believe... I want to see something with the turret. I was gonna say, does it hurt the putties? I guess it does, but yeah, I wasn't able to get it into the line. Well, in this case, there isn't one, so yeah, just keep beating. Fine, at this point I could... Actually, you know what, let's see how many arrows it takes to take the door down. Oh, and they do stick into the door, so that's actually a nice touch. Okay, 15. So, alright, fine. 15 is the magic number as far as the arrows killing somebody. Or destroying a door. Alright. We got our next boss, Dark Warrior. What he'll do is he'll jump around and he will try and slice you, so a little bit like Bones was. But in this case, yeah, just pretty much keep him at a distance and avoid the bombs he throws. Usually get a sense of it, and he will have a little bit of a distance to handle that, usually. At least for now. His next form will be a little more difficult. Also, yeah, be careful when he does that. Yeah, when he does that pop out, that means I think he's doing his next form. Yeah, he will jump a lot. Ooh, crap. Alright, fine, flashing a light on this, because, like, yeah, I want to take care of this. Oh, he has that thing. He has, like, the scythe on the hook. Oh, fine, he had the scythe on the hook, and I guess I got rid of it in record time. Now he's a sword again. Okay, no, fine. When he does the transport back and forth, or does the teleport, he pulls out a different weapon. But, yeah, so far it seems like, yeah, it's not doing him a whole lot of good. I'm just hitting him right now when it's going. So in some ways, actually, I'll tell you, I guess maybe the second boss is the hardest, and I got him. Okay, yeah, I can't believe I took care of him that quick, but okay. Alright, so there we go. That is the end of Stage 5. That, by the way, is the last level with the Rangers, because, of course, if you know the show well, what happens when their skills can't quite be up to the task? Well, they call in the power of their individual Dinozords. So yeah, we have Saber-Toothed Tiger. And you get the vocals going on saying, "Go, go, Power Rangers!" Yeah, this is when it's getting serious, when you have the pterodactyl, the Triceratops, Mastodon, the pterodactyl, and the Tyrannosaurus. So, alright, it is Zord time. Yeah, the last two levels are Zord levels. Yeah, and when their powers combine this way, I know that's a different team of 5. Yeah, I get the Megazord. So yeah, you do get the Megazord in this game. So yeah, the last two levels are Megazord, and we're gonna fight to get that big scale of, you know, the big hulking robot of the Power Rangers going against Mutitus, I believe it is. Yeah, the sunset and the music, oh my god, so good. Even if you're not huge into this franchise, it's kind of hard not to get pumped by this. Alright, so how this works is kind of a little bit of a precursor to what the Fighting Edition game was going to do, because you have a power meter down there, as well as life, and when it gets up high enough, you hit the X button, you do an attack, and if you have it higher, you do a more powerful attack. You basically have to kind of wait until it builds up, so pretty much strategize, or you can just jump towards him and just do the slice and the Y button for the sword, but just build it up further. So actually what I will do is I will try and, yeah, wait until it gets up higher, so yeah, because it gets a little more powerful, so... Okay, yeah, I missed sort of with it, but yeah, just get the boss down and don't die. Alright, yeah, it definitely is a good case. Yeah, we're in front of the factory, which seems like a good case for, I guess, a giant robot creature, I guess the kaiju fight you mentioned, like Godzilla or something like that. Or Ultraman is, oh, Jesus. Yeah, but they could do the same thing as far as the power, so yeah, we're gonna hold back. I want to get my most my most powerful attack here. Wait until that power bar goes up entirely. Hit the X button, boom, there you go. Does take the whole bar down, but yeah, it hurt him pretty bad. So it's kind of a little bit of a strategy, and as I mentioned, that's how the Power Rangers, the Fighting Edition, works from what I've understood. And chat, let me know if you have memories with that one, or if you played it. I have not, but I've seen it played. I mean, we mentioned the Console Wars show, the Console Wars program on this show a lot. They did 2 episodes as far as Power Rangers. The fighting games, which were the Fighting Edition and the Genesis game, and then the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie games, both of them for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. Alright, it is getting close. Fitting, I guess, for the show, but no! Also, by the way, if I die, it is going to be just a normal game over. Alright, fine, I get... Oh, I get him? Alright, unfortunately, no, the Rangers died. But if nothing else, it's fine. We can do the, continue, so no issue there. And H624 if we, have to quit. I think it is infinite continues, but alright, fine, 2 lives. Because, yeah, I mean, we're getting close to the end of this game. I told you this was short. It was like, I'm not going to shortchange you on a program. And actually, after we finish it, there is one last thing I do want to show with this game in particular. In this case, I'll be a little more careful. Actually, when I first got to this a couple weeks ago, it was actually the first time that I had gotten to this part. Alright, yeah, you can sort of reflect off as well. Oh yeah, they have the acid. Alright, boom. Alright, in this case, I'm just, like, showing no mercy. Yeah, just take the sword and jump and hit him. Well, it feels like I probably should just wait for my, power attack again. But, as I said, I'm getting myself hurt badly by, mutitis. I think it's mutitis. Feel free to correct me, that's not right. Oh, damn, that hurts bad. So, like, alright, fine. You know what? I might die again. Like, yeah, we're gonna get through the Megazord. It's not, and really, I'll tell you, I'm being reckless. Which tends to be how I run games generally. Not just this one, just any game, it seems. Ah! I was gonna say, wait, did I die again? Oh, no, not yet. Okay, yeah, I died that time, getting hit in the foot. But alright, fine. We're gonna take care of the Megazord, don't worry. I guess it's also put to the test if this is infinite continues, I believe it does. As far as I remember, I believe it does, so yeah, the only way you can, end this game is if I give up. We are not giving up, because hey, Power Rangers wouldn't give up. Get to hear more of the great music as far as this. And so if nothing else, I'll give you a little more as far as the Zord, and, oh, well, fine, now, but also for the next stage. Alright. Actually, when I did the test play, I had way better luck on this. I was used to just saying, okay, fine, I'm just jumping and hitting them. It's like, yeah, why not? Like that. I do have the sound design here as well. You get the sense that, whew, as far as, like, the sound of, like, the sword going, and also, like, the laser blast of, boom! It's like, yeah, these things are hurting. It's like, yeah, if he's gonna get hit by that, yeah, he's not living. Alright, fine. And you know what? I'm gonna get him down a little more, and I'm gonna hit him. We should finish him off with this. Maybe I'll do that on the last boss. Alright. Oh, yeah, you can sort of do the stab down if you're hitting down the Y button, whether you're in the air or not in the air. You know, fine. In this case, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Yeah, there you go. Take that. Oh, did I get him? I don't know if that really hurt him much. Or maybe he was blocking. Because, yeah, you can block, I think. I don't remember how to do it. Yeah, no more. Oh, right, I forgot. When you hit the, double tap the D-pad, either forward or backwards, you can do a jump back or a dash forward. So actually, in that case, yeah, that's how I'm doing it. Yeah, the dash in with the sword. Hey, that's how the Power Rangers do it. Just do the dash in and... Alright, fine. Alright. Alright, you're done. Alright, you know, he'll be done now. Hit X. Oh, he jumped out of the way, but alright, fine, he's done. Alright, there we go. 3 times, he's out. Oh, and, finish him. I think I got him. Alright. And he just hit the X button at the end. Alright, so that is the first of the Zord fights. We got one more to go. Alright, so now we are on Rita's home planet. So there she is. I guess there's the Repulsive Palace, I guess it is. I like how the last 2 battles are Zord battles. I do too, because I think if nothing else, it does build up to that thought of, you know what, hey, we went through this game and kind of structures it the way the show does. So, you know, that's usually how the show works. Like, hey, they started as, you know, not the Rangers, and then they became the Rangers, and, you know, they got the kick-assery going on, but, like, yeah, sometimes things are too much. Sometimes they got the big monster of Rita's or whoever's coming on, and then it's like, okay, fine, no, end of the story, but, or end of it, and you're like, yeah, we're pulling the Megazord out. It's real. Sorry, my phone died. Don't worry about that. As I said, we got everything set. By the way, if he looks like I'm killing him quickly, don't think that's normal, because he will come... Yeah, he will survive the one shot. He blocks it, so you have to hit him twice. Do it twice. Don't worry about it. As I said, as far as that, I guess he's kind of getting the Goldar thing to it. The whole show will be set when we edit, so it's like, hey, you're not missing anything. Even if you run into cases, you know, where the tech gets in the way on your end, then, hey, I can relate. The tech has gotten on the way on my end for the show more than I'd like, and I want to try and manage that usually. But, alright, fine. Ooh, Christ! That took half my health off. So, yeah, Cyclopsis is not screwing around here. But again, we're not either. Ugh. Yeah, you just have to drain his health bar twice, and he'll be, done. And one more hit, I think we got him. Alright, here we go. Alright, finish him! There we go, got him. So there's Cyclopsis. Alrighty. 80 minutes, we were done with the game. Well, we got a little more going on, but yeah, we beat it. We got taken care of Rita Repulsa to a certain extent, although we actually don't see that she's gone. But yeah, there we go. I get what you're saying, because you're saying as far as like the perspective, yeah, you're right as far as looking at actually all the characters, but even as far as like the way Zach looks, it does look weird. It looks like, yeah, he's like, hey, yo, kids, get out of the way, we're driving down the highway. But yeah, there we are. We do have our team ready to go. Go to the Angel Grove Rec Center, as it is, for a little bit of a party. Yeah, so it does look kind of weird for that. Actually, even Jason doesn't really have much of a face. It's just the one that kind of comes off the best, I guess, is Billy, in a lot of ways, because of the way the glasses, and I guess a little bit with Kimberly. I was gonna say I discovered Power Rangers. I was gonna say how I rediscovered Power Rangers, which was on Netflix, which is when I became a fan of it. Yeah, actually, I think that was the case a couple years ago. It was on Netflix. I kind of was, getting into it a little bit, as we are at Ernie's restaurant specifically, and there is Vulcan Skull in the background as doing the dance. Actually, yeah, that was the case of me when I saw it up there, and I don't know if it's still up there now, or if it's on other services. It might be on other services on top of that. As far as the show. But yeah, definitely was an interesting thing as far as how to get back into it, and sometimes that goes into, you know, what we've sometimes said, the idea that you kind of just fall down the rabbit hole that way of saying, hey, I liked something, but then kind of starting to understand it and really get into it even more as you're growing older and kind of see where the value is, yeah, Zach showing the skill of his moves as everybody's cheering him on. And, yeah, there we go. There is Iku Mizutani and Kinyo Yamashita, as we mentioned, who did the music for this. Yeah, so there's one more thing to show, specifically with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for Super Nintendo, but this is the game. It is short, really, really short, and it is only one player for the beat-em-up. That is an unfortunate case, but it is fun, and I'll tell you, if nothing else, it definitely does get you in the mood for this franchise and for this world, which I think is the best you can really hope for. And as we saw with stuff like Batman Forever, you can't always take that for granted, because, hey, maybe that game's longer, but that doesn't make it better, necessarily. Sometimes that argument of, you know, how much is a problem of a game being short or not. In this case, I think it's a good enough case, and there is a little extra. In fact, you do get that after the credits here for this game, and I will go into my final thoughts a little bit. I'll give it a little bit more time for the purpose of this, as we're getting our nice night sky for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game. But yeah, alright, fine, Rita did get away. Okay, so we did see her that way, which I guess is the same case of the show. It was like, yeah, we tore Cyclopsis in half, but yeah, she got away. By the way, those numbers, they are passwords for an extra element, because I said this game is single player only for the beat-em-up element. It is, but there is a two-player mode technically, and I'm going to show that off. Not that it's going to be much with me, because, hey, I only have myself here tonight. Of which, actually, it's worth mentioning that the next 2 months about worth of shows are going to be guest appearances on pretty much every one of them. In fact, yeah, not until we do Mr. Makers in October, I believe is going to be either beginning of October or last day of September, depending on how scheduling might work. Yeah, it's going to be other people on the show with me for each of these. But yeah, for Power Rangers, this is my case for it. And with this, we do have the fin of it, and I'll show you as far as the 2-player mode. We'll get more of the perspective of the music. I do love the music for this and how they recreate it for this game. Alrighty, so go to the options menu. As mentioned, there's passwords, so hey, if you either quit or get a game over, or however that is, you can run the password to continue. But with the passwords they gave us, I did write them down from when I was doing the test play. Put it in, it's only 4 characters, which is very nice. Let's put in a couple of them. 1007 is one of them. Enter him with D-pad. Hit the start button to activate it. Alright. Yeah, you get the Special Fighter. 1 of 3. Now, this looks familiar, right? Yeah, it's the Megazord and it's Cyclopsis again, but here's the deal. I have 2 controllers plugged in, and I'm going to show off to this. Hello, everyone. Hello, Dolly Finn. Good to see you. For Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Super Nintendo, that I actually technically just finished the single player of, although since you're here, I'll go back to the single player to show a little bit more of it. We're done. We just get a little more time for this, because this is a very short game, but alright. Yeah, I put in the password. Fabulous. Good to see you tonight, Dolly Finn. Feel free to go into any of your memories of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or of this Super Nintendo game. This is the first one. Thank you. Sure, no problem. And I guess it goes to what we had with some of the beat-em-ups. Actually, ElecVerse was a case like that when we had Final Fight, first one, saying like, hey, you came in late for Final Fight, like, I'm not leaving you to go home empty-handed, for sure. Although you probably are already home. Alright, so I put in that password 1007. Yeah, there's only 2 characters moving. I got my second controller, my ASCII pad. Yes, you have 2 players, so like, okay, fine. There is Cyclopsis. What's his strong? We hit the X button, boom, that's what it is. Although, actually, wait a minute. Because I'm at full power with him. Fine, with the Zord, okay, because I'm trying to get a sense of one thing, which is this game necessarily well-balanced? Okay, fine, this is, alright, fine, if you hit, actually, I didn't see that happen. If you press up and the D-pad, or down on the D-pad, and X, okay, you do different attacks in different directions. Oh yeah, and by the way, yeah, if you don't have energy in your bar, he'll just do the gasp like that and nothing will happen. Yeah, I'm gonna try this again with Cyclopsis, or Cyclopsis. Alright, yeah, I just want to make sure I'm saying the name. I'm saying his name a lot, it seems like, a little bit recently. But alright, so I'm just gonna wait till that bar gets up to show, so here's the deal. So if you have a friend with you, you just put the lasers out there, it's like, yeah, just shoot the Megazord if you want, or say like, no, fine, the Megazord needs to win. Same element as before, jumping on the B button, Y is your main attack. In this case, he also has the fists. Up and down will change things, so... Alright, so if that's something else I could show. I could show the different attacks, the different you hit up and down on the D-pad. Special attacks, which on X, A button does nothing, left or L and R do nothing, and... Okay, fine, the Megazord is like, fine, you know what, I'm just gonna kick him in the feet, kick him in the face or something. You shoot out the laser, boom. Actually, I'm curious about one thing. You know what, fine, since I destroyed Cyclopsis instead of the other way around, yeah, let's destroy the Megazord briefly, see what happens. Also, I don't think... Well, I can actually check this. May as well give a whole look of this. Yeah, you have to put the password in each time. Let's put in that one again, and then we'll show you the other 2, and we'll take a look at the single player briefly. Alright, because fine, I'll let the Megazord beat him, because I'm wondering something, because in the main game, you have to defeat Cyclopsis twice in order to win. So in the single players, or in the multiplayer, does it work the same way? Maybe there's more of a bonus, and I will say I'd rather have had the idea of, you know, the beat-em-up perspective with the second player as an option, but that's what its sequel, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, is for. Alright, fine. Okay, no, so it's not like that. There are so many games in this franchise. Yeah, we've mentioned a lot on this show. Okay, so before I get to that quickly... Okay, so they do tailor it. At first I thought, oh, they're gonna make you have to, you know, kill the other player twice, or kill, Colossus, or Cyclopsis, twice. But alas, you do not. Alright, so let's show the other ones. I will show each of them winning. There's so many games in this franchise? Yes, there were. We've mentioned a couple on the show. myself, ElecVerse, I know you have, I think, Dolphin, as far as it. So it's been a big case as far as this being a long-running franchise, which, as I mentioned, is celebrating its 29th anniversary on August 28th, and its 30th next year, as far as the US element of this. Whereas the Super Sentai show that this was based off of has been around since the 1970s, 1975 specifically. So in 3 years, it's going to be 50 years of Super Sentai and, by extension, Power Rangers. All right, boom. Shoot the elements down. Yeah, let's kill, what's his name? Mutisis. Yeah, definitely a different case to when I was playing in the single player, where I got a game over to him twice. That being said, we will also show what, Cyclops, or not, no, fine. We beat Cyclops already. He is done. Show what, Mutisis does. Alright, as we keep the discussion going, as far as chat is concerned, it seems. Alright, so. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, so. Actually, the other thing is, you know what? I'll tell you, let's make a little bit of variety. As I mentioned, I have the ASCII pad for Super Nintendo as my second controller option here, which is a third-party controller from ASCIIware, which actually is licensed by Nintendo. So in that case, let's try turning on the turbo. So alright, fine. This is something actually I haven't done. You know what, this is something a little different. Alright, fine. In this case, just keep hitting Y just to hit things. Well, actually, in the case of this one, it's not going to be as funny. Or if I hit it onto the middle setting as far as the turbo stuff, you hold the Y button and it just does a rapid push. Or if you put it all the way to the right as far as the switch, it keeps doing that. Or if you hit the slow button, nothing happens. So never mind. Alright, so what does he do? Okay, he breathes fire. Okay, actually, I'll probably have to see if I can't do that thing he was doing to me in the single player. Also, it looks like, yeah... Okay, his attacks have much more wind-up, I'm noticing. There's a bit of a delay when I hit the Y button there to pull the sword out. Pull the, I guess the Wolverine claws. The adamantium claws, feasibly. Which, as I said earlier, makes some sense. I guess maybe sort of tangentially because Ron Wasserman did the music for, X-Men. Alright, let's, Alright, so that guy's just pretty much just shoot the Zord down. Like, yeah, we'll show equal opportunity elements. Like, the Zord's gonna die, unfortunately, again, for this. Let's make it interesting as far as how does the Zord go. Oh, he doesn't have... Okay. Oh, no, he does the dash for it. He has the jump back as well. He double tap the Y... Or double tap the D-pad for that. Alright, yeah, right in the face for the Megazord. But I do like the attention to detail. Yeah, those Megazords just smoking, so yeah, it's gonna be fine. You just trip back to shop Data or Alpha 5 will take care of that. I don't know what's saying Data. I think Star Trek maybe on the mind for some reason. All right, next is 1212. That's the next password. The last one they give us for 2 players. So you do get a little bit of variety, although. Oh right, okay. I remember why they give you 3. They give you the fight with Mutisis. They give you the Cyclopsis fight, and then you give you the Gold Cyclopsis fight. So in that case... Oh, okay, also one other thing I guess we didn't mention, we did this. Yeah, Rita's home planet, yeah, she has the Rita's, what is it? The Rita Resort or something. Yeah, the Rita Resort, I guess is what it's called. Maybe. But yeah, in that case, everything else is gonna get destroyed inside of it. They say this is the #1 Power Rangers... Oh, they say this is the #1, I guess, fighting game of Power Rangers, Battle for the Grid. Yeah, I haven't played that. It's on... I think it's on pretty much everything. I think it's on Xbox One, PS4, I think it's PC. I think Switch has it too. Fine, yeah, he's just throwing out... Yeah, I've never played it. Would you recommend that? And feasibly, would you also want to see it? Because I'd definitely be curious to show more stuff with Power Rangers, particularly, I guess, maybe ones that are longer than this. Not that this is a bad thing, this is short, but just the sense of, yeah, you know what? We want to have that element going on as far as Power Rangers. Alright, let's do one more, and then we'll take another look at the single player again for a brief period. Yeah, as I said, this is probably more interesting if I had another player with me for it, but as I said, this is the one show over the next couple months where I don't have somebody else next to me for it. But, yeah, in this case, fine, whatever. Oh, actually, okay, wait a minute, Okay, so that's something interesting, too. Yeah, if you do the double tap the dash, hit the B button with the Zord anyway, you kind of just put your arm right into him. It's like, yeah, you basically do the... Oh, it's like Wario Land, almost. You do the dash into him with the arm out. They refer to Power Rangers The Battle for the Grid as a love letter to the entire series. Yeah, and I've seen stuff of that, because I heard a lot about it. it's kind of a fighting game like this. From what it looked almost like a take on something like a Jump Force or a little bit like Dragon Ball FighterZ, sort of, kind of, or Marvel vs. Capcom a little bit. Yeah, but I have not played it. It definitely is an interesting one from what I've heard. It is the modern take on it, and they keep updating it, keep adding stuff to the game, because I guess people want to play it. It's nice. Okay. From what I've understood, anyway. And there's definitely some other stuff as far as other licenses and other licensed fighting games, licensed beat-em-ups that we can show as far as that. Including, actually, I'll follow up with this, because I don't think I went into this when we did stuff with Element of the story until I did edits. There are those fighting games that Arc System Works did for Super Famicom. They have done translations of those. They've done reproduction translation of that. I think a couple of the beat-em-ups. I think the Sailor Moon R, I believe. I think there's one on the Sega Mega Drive that they just did a translation patch for. So if we have a representation going on those franchises for that franchise or anything else you want to see. But all right. Let's go back to the title screen. We'll like a little brief element. Yeah, there's lots of power versus representation in Battle for the Grid. I can imagine, from what I've understood. Who made that game, by the way? Chat, if you know. Because I've understood he's pulling from a lot of different areas of that franchise. Regular, Zeo. I personally don't think it's very good. You played it. What'd you play it on? I mean, one thing I've heard from people saying that it looks a little weird as far as maybe the visuals, but it didn't look terrible exactly. So I don't know if it's maybe just because, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I know the fighting game, element or the fighting game perspective is a very crowded case. Actually, I don't know. Maybe it's also one of those things that I believe Namco recently announced that they're doing next-gen versions of Dragon Ball FighterZ, specifically on Xbox One or Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and they are doing enhancements for that for the purpose of enhancing certain things, the online in particular, as well as I guess they're enhancing the tech for it. So, but I don't know if maybe with that one's like, hey, the thought that something about the way the engine is working. I played the PlayStation 4 version. Okay. I mean, hey, here's the other thing. Is like, if it's not a very good game, that's fine. We can also deal with it that way, for sure. But I'd be very curious about what it is, because I guess, well, let's talk about that. I'm trying to think about this as far as some of the other, like, fighting games of that style that I played. We're basically taking Kimberly down the street. May as well show that. And that is that, I mean, really, I'll tell you, I mean, I played some that are pretty decent, although as far as Power Rangers, actually the ones I think I've played really are the Super Nintendo ones, the first two, this one and the movie one. So in that case, I don't really have much of a frame of reference as far as the fighting stuff with Power Rangers. And with other franchises, you kind of got that. I mean, I mentioned Dragon Ball FighterZ, I mentioned like the Budokai games, which I always thought were a bit stiff, but I know some of them apparently got pretty good. The Tenkaichi games, I remember good things about. And then the period of games where they're pulling off a Power Stone like crazy. I mean, stuff like Rave Master, there's like a Zatch Bell fighting game, a Moto Battles, I believe it was on the GameCube and things like that. As well as, what else? Like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And we mentioned Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction being a bad take. Or even the Tom and Jerry Fists of Furry on Nintendo 64, where they're basically saying, I think it was PlayStation as well for that one, where licensed case of your fighting game, the idea of like, what's considered a high-tier fighter, really? And how do they go into that with a license? And when I understand Fighter Z is one that kind of goes through that. But whether they'll forget it or not, does, I don't know. Alright, so yeah, looking at the chat there, it seems like the pleasantries going on as far as having the good week. Hope you had one. Everybody, yeah, I definitely had a decent one, I guess. It's been busy as hell. Even as far as Saturday's concerned, which is why we're having Friday show. It was like, hey, either way, we're going to have the Friday show, is for sure. And, yeah, Dolphin, just to reiterate, since we're back at this point, to show this. For the single player, you go halfway through the level as the main character, or the character you select, and then you go and turn into the Ranger. So, it's morphin' time! And with that, then you also have access to the weapon. So, in Kimberly's case, she has the power of the pterodactyl, so she has the arrows, although it takes 15 arrows to kill anything. So, you're only going to use that in certain capacities, like, hey, distance doesn't necessarily matter for certain things. Or also use the bomb down there. In fact, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll try fighting that first boss without it, just to get a sense of, I may as well. Right now playing the Ninja Saviors. Yeah, you're mentioning that. The sequel to Ninja Warriors, which is by Natsume, who developed this. So in that case, I guess you already got to picking it up. And are you liking it? Would you say it is worth a pickup for sure on the Switch element for that? Yeah, we'll do the thing with the bomb now, but yeah, Flash, you might want to do this. Okay, that looked weird. It looks like the background is distorting on that. Oh, okay, no, never mind. I was looking at the way it's rendering on my tech. It looks like it just... Okay, the wings of the pterodactyl for the logo, or for her Dinozord signal, was meshing with the background, so it looked like... I said, hey, it looks like, I don't know, like a geodesic dome or something over Angel Grove. I'd say yes, it is worth taking a look at. Okay, I will definitely have to look into that. As I said, I'm all about, getting recommendations from people. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I actually got a recommendation today, or something that was mentioned in regards to with Heart of Darkness on PlayStation. Well, you played it on the PC, but on the PlayStation, I know where it exists, and feasibly might be an interesting one to show. And feel free, everybody else to chat as well, Dolphin, anything you've been playing, or anything else you have on your mind in regard to Power Rangers. And I do love that touch, like, yeah, they're coming in the pickup truck, like doing the salute to all hail Reed Repulsa. Yeah, and fine, we're just destroying their truck, so yeah, bye-bye. I don't know whose sedan that is, but unfortunately it's getting trashed. Yeah, so yeah, this is the game, basically, as I mentioned, which is pretty much just going around beating up. Simple but fun, which tends to be stuff with the beat-em-ups as far as how it is, but for this, it is a good representation of Power Rangers, and I guess it's also... It's interesting we were playing this now after we played... Well, Streets of Rage 1, and then 2, the Final Fight games, and Batman Forever. So we put into context this, which is... This is a game that's not necessarily super complicated, but also one that doesn't overcomplicate itself the way that Batman Forever did to its detriment. Or even aspects of the, the platforming. You know what, fine, let's fight Bones again. I'll fight him legitimately, because I didn't before, and he almost killed me, so I can show what the difficulty is. I feasibly just did that before, just so I could show what the I guess how to easily handle him, which is basically wait till you get to the last one and use the bomb there. Wow, cool. Yeah, I mean, it is cool as far as it, and as I said, here's the other thing about this. If you like this franchise, this is definitely going to be up your alley for the style of it, although feasibly, I would probably agree with ElecVerse on this, which is that there's a little more meat on the bones in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, for this system. And I haven't played the Game Boy version. I've heard some mixed things on it. Nocturne has that, and she said, hey, if she wants to be involved in that, it's all hers, and she owns that. So in a lot of ways, I mean, that might be a little better, but if you like Power Rangers, it's a good one to start with, not to mention the fact that this is also way cheaper than that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie game. The Genesis one is like 15, 20 bucks. The Super Nintendo game is 70, 80. So it costs a bit of money, so if you're not necessarily sure, this was 20. I bought this for 20 bucks. This is not that expensive. You might be able to find it cheaper depending on where you look. So if you like that style for it and you like Power Rangers, this is a good one. So I guess this is in some ways, go into some elements of final thoughts. In fact, you know what? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll keep playing until I get either another game over or I beat the game again, because why not? I mean, hey, I did this with Final Fight, so why not with Power Rangers? May as well. May as well enjoy that experience as we're going along. And like for you're saying, the weird case as far as the character modelings. You like the way, yeah, because there's Zach from the show, but it's also kind of weird how they kind of do some stuff with the face to kind of make it more expressive, but it almost looks like, yeah, there's some detail maybe missing or they couldn't fit. And he looks the weirdest that way, which is kind of a strange case for him. Although, yeah, his overhead throw, though, helps hitting those turrets or the sentry guards in the trees. It does have good animation as well, so alright, fine. I guess to go to elements of final thoughts as we're playing the game again, because why not? Yes, okay, so you're agreeing as far as that Dolly Finn, I guess as far as the look, as far as how it kind of looks weird. Almost at the background. As I mentioned also, this is another interesting case, since you're just joining now, or sort of now, I'll mention this. This was developed by Natsume, who's a company who's known for... Fine, they published Harvest Moon, and it's complicated about how they make Harvest Moon and sort of don't now. There's a video that Mac Muscles made about how that franchise is kind of tied around. I'll put it in the link list. And, but they also made stuff like Pocky and Rocky and Scat on the NES. And, what else did I have? Oh, right, Wild Guns. We talked about Wild Guns as well, which is a Super Nintendo game that costs a lot of money. unlike this one does not cost much money compared to those. I mean, dang it, Wild Guns is a game that's like multiple hundreds of dollars. But yeah, it does have a weird look, I guess, in some ways, but as I said, there's something to be said, I guess, about the fact that even with that, I do get the sense, like, fine, I'm looking at the characters here. I'm looking at Zachary, like, he has the dancing moves going on, he does the punch combo, which is, I guess, in some ways the way, like, Streets of Rage did it. And also with Final Fight, he kind of does the spin split kick thing. I'll see if I can't show that with the... Yeah, like that. That looks cool. It's like, okay, it looks like the franchise, if nothing else. It looks weird as far as maybe the details are lacking, especially compared to some of the other games like this. But still, I look at this and say, like, yeah, this looks like Power Rangers to me. It doesn't necessarily feel to me that, oh yeah, like they bootlegged it or took the license. But then again, Bandai did the licensing stuff for Power Rangers entirely back in the 90s, whereas I think now, I don't know if it's... Because remember, Namco merged with Bandai, or Bandai merged with Namco, so it's Namco, Bandai, Bandai, Namco, take your pick as far as you want to say that. I don't know if they released Battle for the Grid. Maybe they did. I mean, if they did, I'll put an edit in for this as just going to the factory. Yeah, but yeah, with them giving us knives, it's not going to be good. Although, as I mentioned before, it's not a big deal that I'm almost near death because I'm going to get a full, well, health recovery in just a second anyway. If I do that, case of jumping back and forth. Also, one other thing for that, I didn't know they merged. I guess what? Oh, Namco and Bandai? It happened, I believe, about 50 or so years ago. Alright, fine. There is, Gnarly Gnome again. Yeah, when you, morph, by the way, you get a full, run. Yeah, it's funny, because it is interesting. Yeah, it is, and actually, here's the weird thing. I'll say, in some ways, I'm kind of guilty of one thing, which is that every time I talk about Namco, I tend to not mention Namco Bandai. Like, I guess you should mention the whole name of the company. I mean, in my case, I think Namco because of, I guess, them at the time, but then again, Bandai was a big part of gaming, too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they published. Stuff like this, stuff like, they published the games based on a bunch of, licenses, like Inuyasha and stuff based on that on PlayStation 2. I think it was since 2005. Yeah, because I remember also it was right before, I think this could feasibly be a, April Fool's Day game choice if you want to see it this way. Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire on PlayStation 3, which will also the system, is a disaster from what I've seen of it. But I remember that was Namco Bandai who was published on that. But I think they merged because there's a story behind that. I'll see if I can't find what it is, or chat if you know, to explain what the idea of that was. I mean, I know, I guess we mentioned before sometimes mergers of companies, game companies specifically. We mentioned that with Square Enix, where Square lost a lot of money on Final Fantasy The Spirits Within. They saw the Game Boy Advance was doing well. They saw that, I guess, Enix was kind of sort of around to a certain extent. I mean, they had Dragon Warriors was known, and now Dragon Quest. Fine, Dragon Quest for Japan, Dragon Warrior for the US licensing, and now Dragon Quest everywhere. Enix had that. They did decent with 7 on, or Dragon Warrior 7 on PlayStation 1, and I guess the thought of Enix and Square merging, and then with Namco and Bandai, I guess the same thing. I guess with that, to some degree, I guess when that happened, Namco got access to some of the licenses that Bandai had at the time, although whether they still have some of the ones that they had then, that I'm not sure. Doing the nice backflip, which is good for attacking, as I mentioned, or avoiding stuff. Actually, attacking doesn't do anything, so yeah, may as well show that. You do a backflip into the enemies, doesn't do anything for them, but it's more for us moving around as, yeah, shielded putties. Yeah, use the overhead axe. I should also just keep doing that. And going through that. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting to get a sense of... Actually, it's something I was talking about with people today, which was the idea of... And we mentioned this before, you know, let's go into this discussion, why not? Which is, we've sometimes talked on this show the idea of companies that were big, or that were known for a high output of quality or something, perhaps, in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s, however, and then it changes over time. Some ways I thought, like, hey, they think that we might think they're not as impressive anymore, or the idea that there's a different feel to a lot of stuff. We mentioned that with Rare, in some cases, that there's definitely a different case of that now that, well, fine, Microsoft owns them. A lot of people who are at Rare are at, Playtonic now, who made, Ukulele. And also the idea that well, with Rare, a lot of the stuff they've been doing seems like it's recently, or even the stuff they're planning now, seems like it's in limbo. There's, what was the name of that game? I think it's Everwild for Xbox Series S and X. That's in limbo. We haven't heard a thing about it. I think, from what I understood, they apparently they're restarting that project multiple times, and we haven't heard much about it. Or the one that, okay, this is not a Rare thing, admittedly, but it's kind of tangentially connected. The new Perfect Dark game. They announced that, I think, 2 years ago. It was not Rare who's making it, but we've heard nothing about it since then, and I'm getting very nervous that we're not getting that now. Like, Microsoft's not mentioned a thing about it. The thought of, oh, did it go away, and other stuff with other things. I find it ironic also that this game and Mega Man X3 shared a composer, because later on, Mitsumi co-developed Mega Man Zero for, and Inti Creates to make a game based on, Samurai. Really? Okay, well, yeah, so, okay, so, see, it's funny you mentioned that with Mega Man Zero 4. I didn't know that Mitsumi was in connection with that, or how Inti Creates, I guess they co-developed it. I was not aware of that. I mean, that's our previous game, or Power Rangers Samurai, what was it? Power Rangers Samurai Force? Is it? Yeah, because there's a couple that Natsumi developed, as far as Power Rangers is concerned. But the idea that, you know, everything's kind of going in between each other. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that with, it's on the DS version of the Power Rangers Samurai. Okay. Because I looked at the stuff they did on, on the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy... The Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance, I should say. So they made that on the DS. Thank you for indicating that. So, alright, so the idea that things are connecting, you can kind of see a little bit of, I guess, the ideas in some ways with stuff of companies with what they're making a little. I guess also with Mega Man Zero 4, actually, of those, I think it's the one that Nocturne tends to like the least. And she says, hey, it feels a lot more, it feels like a bit of a different game to some degree than the other three on the Advance did. That might give it some credence, or that might give credence to that, or explain why that is, because, hey, it's not the same thing. It was a Haim Saban Toy Company who, I guess, released the Samurai, Power Rangers Samurai Force, I believe it is. Fine, if it's not Samurai Force, I'll put in what it is later for that. I know connections as far as Power Rangers for that. Yes, it was. Okay, so there you go, as far as it. But yeah, I mean, I guess this goes to what we're mentioning, the idea that, you know, the connections as far as that, and as I said with, as I said earlier in the show, to what ElecVerse is indicating, Mega Man X3, Kinuyo Yamashita did the music for that game, and we'll do Mega Man X3 eventually, and I'm gonna Mega Man X1 again. But, yeah, they did the music for this game, or she did the music for this game along with, Iku Mizutani. So you get that sense of, oh, there's connections there, so that even though this is the first case of Power Rangers for Natsumi developing, it was not the last, and even then when they got connections with other things, other stuff that the people involved would work on, you kind of still have that connective tissue, which sometimes could be interesting. To kind of give that idea of, okay, what are certain things as far as the company's doing, or then that way, even when they're changing franchises or doing something else totally different, you kind of get a sense of, I guess, what... Yeah, they kind of holding, I guess, on to some of the experiences they might have had. I mean, in this case, with Power Rangers came out 2 years before Mega Man X3, or feasibly, as I mentioned earlier, Yamashita did the music for Castlevania. You know, Inti Creates also made Pac-Man the Ghostly Adventures for 3DS, so in that case, Inti Creates, I guess, was kind of getting around as far as stuff with Namco on top of that as well. Or Namco Bandai. May as well call them the full name now. Fine, I guess I'll tell you I'll manage this. Anytime we play something from Namco or Bandai, which was before they were, you know, one company, we'll just refer to them specifically as far as the name. But then later I'll combine it. But yeah, so with that, as far as Pac-Man, actually, one thing I want to follow up with on something. I put an edit when we did Donkey Kong Country. I want to follow up with this, just to kind of get that out. When we're talking about the Pac-Man World remake that's coming out, and Flashing Light, by the way, on the Rock Slide, I didn't remember we're talking about this, that actually, when we're saying the ownership case of, you know, Miss Pac-Man with Namco, I didn't realize until I was editing it. I was like, man, how did I not remember this? That Namco didn't make Miss Pac-Man, actually. A group of students from MIT reverse engineered Pac-Man, and instead of suing them or cease and desisting them, Namco said, let's buy you out, or buy out the rights to that so we get it. And then a couple years ago, there was a licensing with At Games that At Games went to the people who made it from MIT, I believe, and not Namco Bandai. And now, because of that litigation, Namco Bandai can't release Miss Pac-Man, which is why, as we mentioned, the Pac-Land port has a Miss Pac-Man movie with Pac-in-law, or Pac-mother-in-law, I guess as it is. Or, fine, what her actual name is going to be right down the bottom of the screen here. And also, same with the remake of Pac-Man World, which is out, actually, I think in a couple weeks. So not too far for that one. Actually, also, given how we're running, I think we might feasibly beat the game again. So, you know what, fine. We're in too deep now. We're in deep enough now. And hey, this is a short game, you know what, fine. Let's go through the whole game again. Why not? And continue this discussion. So that's the other thing. Look, it doesn't matter necessarily that we're playing this game a second time. Even if you saw the full play of the first case of it, it's that, you know what, fine, we get to go into this. And look, you know what? I'll say this. I don't think there's a single beat-em-up we played for the show, except for Turtles, now I'm thinking about it, where we played through it only once. I think every other one we played through twice to some degree. Streets of Rage, kind of. Final Fight 2, kind of. Final Fight 1, definitely. And now this one. So you know what? Fine. I guess that'll be the tradition, unless it's a longer beat-em-up. If it's longer, at that point, fine, we won't play it through more than twice. But, yeah, we're 15 for this game, so there you go. So feel free to keep stuff going as we go along. And thank you for letting me know as far as the thing with Pac-Man Ghostly Grove. I didn't know that Integrates made that. I mean, I guess in my thought, I was thinking, well, they're connected with, well, fine, Mega Man Zero and ZX and ZX Advent, as well as stuff like Mighty Number 9, and then also like Blaster Master Zero, those Blaster Master Zero games, and the Zero Striker Gunvolt, and some of the other ones you mentioned. I can't remember what it was. The one you mentioned when we played Batman Forever, which I know you weren't huge on. As we go in the sewer with Jason Wu. Also, that's the other thing I'll also say that I'm doing. I don't know if I actually indicated it specifically. I said, you know what, we're picking different characters for the levels. Well, fine. For the next one, I'm going to have to pick Billy. So it's like, yeah, we're not going to run through the same level as far as that with Trini like we did last time. But so far, going all right again as far as, and yeah, keep the discussions and anything else you got on your minds coming. I guess if nothing else, I'll tell you, it's also good in some cases just because you get to keep that going. And also, I think I'll tell you this, I kind of just like the idea that, you know, at this point, I'm kind of relaxing the... Fine, I relax for the show to some degree, as far as how that feel is, but... I played the game once, so the thought of, oh, I have the pressure to kind of beat it, you know, just that way. At this point, it's like, I already did it, so I don't have anything else to prove, so... At this point, I just kind of let my hair down for the purpose of that, and just enjoy, you know, the start of the weekend. So, yeah, thank God it's here, for sure. I guess the Thank God It's Friday or the TGIF concept, which, okay, fine, not something for Power Rangers exclusively, but yeah, fine, fair enough for that, where it used to be that idea of ABC where Power Rangers kind of was at some degree, or fine, the ABC Family Channel to some degree, with some of the Power Rangers series, the later ones at least. We definitely get to any other Power Rangers games you'll want to see that either you've mentioned or that you haven't. They're taking iGuy again. And nothing else, I guess, is going to, I guess, some elements of the design of Super Sentai and Power Rangers as far as the idea of, I guess, some of the creativity of, like, what the creatures they're creating are. I mean, almost like what you mentioned with Godzilla and the Toei connection, that I finished mentioning. The Toei company was connected with Godzilla, so the thought that they put a lot of thought into the character designs of characters like Godzilla or, you know, Mothra, things like that. So it kind of plays to that idea of like the Saturday afternoon matinee, you know, fantasy, you know, creature thing. Yes. Or yes, you're saying to that. Which is interesting to that. And there are definitely some interesting games as far as Godzilla as well that we could feasibly show off. Actually, one that would be interesting, I don't know if you played it, is Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, which is on the GameCube and Xbox, which is... It's kind of an arena fighter with Godzilla and a lot of the monsters. You even have like all the like the grunts or screams of the creatures. You have Godzilla going, eh! It sounds really great. And it is a lot of fun. It's very simple, kind of like this game is. Hey, you're in a city just destroying everything and destroying the buildings as they get in the way. Almost like a little bit of like King of the Monsters from SNK, which I think was definitely taken off of Godzilla. But then the actual official take on Godzilla to have that and get that, you know, monster movie take or experience going along, as well as other stuff like that, of one, including one I was recommended a couple times, Yeah, and since the 80s, the Godzilla games were a weird case. Is that what you're gonna say? Because I do know there's some weird ones as far as Godzilla. The ones we got here were kind of strategy games for some weird reason. I know Super Godzilla on the Super Nintendo was like that, as well as the Godzilla game on NES, where basically you're kind of on a grid a little bit. Almost like a turn-based thing, and then you're kind of just getting to areas where you can sort of fight monsters, but you have to beat them and kind of get to them at the end, almost like a Fire Emblem take. Or, the 1983 Godzilla game on Commodore 64. I've never seen that one. Yeah, do tell on that one. I'm not familiar with that. Actually, I'll tell you, I don't have a whole lot of familiarity with the Commodore 64, which I guess is a little bit of a blind spot, and I don't know how many re-releases of stuff there are feasibly if I should be looking into getting one of those things, or how the connections are going to work. Actually, there were games on Commodore 64 from the Wii's Virtual Console that unfortunately are no longer available. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting case. The home computing thing. And yeah, Commodore 64 is a big deal as far as a home computer at the time. Actually, Dolphin, go into one thing I know you said a couple weeks ago when we did Tetris 2, actually for our last Friday show. You mentioned that the ZX Spectrum, another computer at the time, home computer that was known for gaming at the time, had games on cassettes, and the Commodore 64 did that as well. In fact, I don't know if the Godzilla game on Commodore did that. I'll put a picture as far as that, or some kind of reference to that Godzilla game. But yeah, feel free to go into that. That's definitely an interesting case. And as I said, filling in a little bit of a gap as far as myself. I was even saying this to people today, saying that, hey, I haven't played everything, I don't know everything, so there's a lot to find out. Or, oh, of course, from Austin Powers and Goldmember, the scene from of Godzilla. Run! It's Godzilla! It looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright laws, it is not. Still, we should run like it is Godzilla, though it's not. Okay, I'll definitely put that in the link list. That is a good call for the purpose of that. It was the highest selling single computer model of all time, the Commodore 64. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. Yeah, run! It's Godzilla! Yeah, I was like, well, we should do something with Godzilla. Yeah, feel free to indicate whatever one you want to see. If I can get a Commodore 64, I definitely would see if I could show that. Although I know stuff on the Commodore costs a lot of money. And I don't know how connecting that's going to be, because it is a computer that connects to a television, but I don't know how its outputs are. I don't know if it supports... In fact, let's go into this, too. All the systems I've connected to this, for the RetroTIC 5X, which I'm running for this, and for anything retro, are running at least on composite, so the audio-visual, well, actually, no, I'm running S-Video for Super Nintendo, so fine, whatever, but composite's the lowest thing I've got. But I know earlier than that, you had stuff that was like RF, or radio, I guess for the radio frequency. I don't think you can connect RF to this unless there's, well, actually, this might be another option. If it's not that, see if I can't get, and I know they make these, an RF to AV adapter, and then feasibly plug in something like that. But that would be feasibly for really early systems, like, I guess, maybe the Commodore. I'll get a look and see in terms of what the connections are, just because I'm curious, now that you're mentioning it. I know the Atari 2600, the television, I think ColecoVision, are all RF connections. Well, then people, I think, have modded systems like that, so it's going to basically probably be able to connect with an HDMI, although, fine, with that, like the Atari stuff, I know there's been re-releases of systems that have HDMI elements and collections like crazy. There's a Godzilla game for Commodore 64. Yeah, apparently, that's what Dolly Finn's saying. I'll take her word on that one. It'd definitely be an interesting one. I mean, fair, Godzilla's been around. It was early in 1982. In the UK, oh, you're saying, oh, the ZX Spectrum. Oh, guys, I'm getting lasered again by him. Actually, I don't know necessarily if there's even like a Godzilla game that was on that, perhaps. But for Commodore, I mean, apparently, yeah, there was. I know there's a Transformers game on Commodore 64. It's on a cassette. That I do know. In fact, I think the Angry Video Game Nerd did an episode on Transformers and mentioned that one. And it was interesting to say, like, yeah, look at all these cases of games you play on other mediums, but here it is on a cassette tape. And even just the thought of, like, saying, like, you know, you get to transform, but it doesn't really change much. Like, yay, Transformers. Yeah, the games were on cassette for, I guess, for both those systems. Actually, with Commodore, what I know of Commodore, or that Commodore system anyway, I know that there were games that were on cassettes. There were ones that were on diskettes, or find like 5 1/4 floppy disks, as it was. So like Manic Miner and Jet Set Willy. Those names sound familiar, actually, but I don't think I've actually played either one of those. So yeah, given the knowledge of the home computing of the 80s for that, definitely expect going into that. But sure, certainly it makes it interesting to get into that. From what I've understood as far as the cassette stuff, though, I've gotten the idea that apparently it takes so long to load games that run in cassettes. We're running Billy, so we don't have the same character on the high-rise. Yeah, so we're gonna get this again. Okay, I guess you have a link to, what, the Godzilla game from Commodore 64, I guess? I was about to say UK is listening. He's played these. Okay, so he has experience with this. Alright. Yeah, because he was on the show when we played, yeah, a friend of yours. He was on the show when we played Christmas Nights. At some point, I'll have to talk to him and see what he'd want to call dibs on, and feasibly for that matter, some way to do a connection on that. Oh, the Angry Video Game Nerd episode on Transformers? Okay. There's also one down Godzilla. I'll probably put the Godzilla one in there as well. And also, fine, because we're talking Power Rangers, I forgot where there's a Power Rangers game going on the screen here, feasibly, I guess. Which is fine. I mean, sometimes that's what happens as far as the chat discussion, which I'm loving that anyway. Yeah, I'll put the one in that, because, like, hey, it kind of goes into other elements of that. And even him saying, like, you know what, in a lot of cases, I can't necessarily say, you know, that this is a bad game. Okay, so that's for the Transformers episode. I'll put links to all the other ones on top of that. That one and all the others. Thank you for providing that. He wants to call dibs on, he wants to call dibs on, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Okay. Sure, I mean, we should do that at some point. I gotta think, you know what, I want to ask chat for your opinion on something then. Because we do the RPGs we mentioned, and as I said, we have, we'll do that every month, for sure. If I do one, or do a part of them each month as we go through. And we got the plates stacked for a little bit of time, but for that one, okay, I didn't know the Shadowler took that down, but I'm curious about one thing. Given how long that game is, and given elements of the side quests, how would you want to see that game handled? Because, I mean, I know we're playing stuff to 100%. It takes a long time. Yes, it does. Actually, Nocturne asked me this too, because she said, hey, there's games I want to do that are really long. She was mentioning Nier Automata. She's mentioning, if you want to take a look at the Tales games eventually, particularly Tales of Vesperia, those go a bit of time. I'll have to, like, balance the RPGs, or, like, mix RPGs of two going on at the same time, because they're huge. Okay, so, ElecVerse, thank you, the Console Wars episode for Power Rangers, the movie, which definitely was a good case of that, going into, you know, the beat-em-up pace. Pick a stage, he says, or pick a, what, a method? To get the flavor for those unfamiliar. Okay. I mean, yeah, I could do that, for sure. As far as how I want to do that, what I'll do is, as I said, we got the RPG plate stacked for a bit of time, give a taste of it. Yeah, I'll figure something to that. I think we can definitely get a sense of what we can do with that. As I said, any request to the show is open, no question. That's gonna be all it is. Or the fighting games episode. Okay. All right, yeah, because that was an interesting one as far as the Console Wars thing. Actually, fine. They did a lot for Power Rangers and well, yeah, Power Rangers and, yeah, Power Rangers, specifically, two of them. The fighting games and then the movie games. And yeah, it was the fighting game, oh no, they were both by Natsume from Super Nintendo. So there you go. Talk to him about it. No problem, I will definitely do that. Yeah, and it said, Ask You Shall Receive on this show. It's more just gonna be a question of how to handle that, which, as I said, that's also been an interesting challenge, actually, I'll tell you. I know Protorova kind of got that ball rolling a little bit, saying, hey, I want to see a game that's a little longer. Here's Metal Gear Solid to start. I said, okay, how's that going to work? And then that's how we came up with the idea of once a month for long-form games, and then the idea of 5 hours feasibly for a game when it's going to be taking a while, or longer, as we had with Majora's Mask last week. While we see, yeah, Genie again. Yeah, we'll definitely figure that, because, we're all about the viewer requests in this program. And hey, this is the viewer request for this month for sure, because I said, you know, if nothing else, considering my thanks, I guess, to the idea of, you know, all of you coming in, all you guys and gals coming into the show, saying, like, yeah, it's not a big show, but you like what's here, you like the idea of, getting into discussions. I guess you like the idea of what this is. You're also saying, like, hey, I get the sense that the game is not represented maybe, or that I haven't seen many people talk about it, because I mean, I said this as far as Protorova is concerned, which is that, with all due respect to him, he has kind of questioned to some degree the mentality of the show, in that thinking like, can you get away with showing a game like this when it's only 2 hours, to which, or not even, fine, we're making it 2.5 the way we're playing it, which I love that we're doing that, but the thought of, you know what, I kind of thought about it, you know what, I said, this is a great challenge, because I said, okay, fine, not every show on Twitch, in fact, most are, not going to be showing some of the games I show, but I get that idea and the thought of like, alright, fine, let's see what we can do, can we make it that way, but even he's kind of gotten into it more, because he said, hey, we're going to do, some stuff next year. It's like, hey, he doesn't think people remember Lunar, Silver Star Story complete. It's like, yeah, that's all yours, play it, show everybody for it. Crusader 64 is going to show us Shadow Hearts. Thought like, hey, if people don't remember it, we remember it, and even if I haven't played it, we'll remember it. You remember it, that's enough. Alright, here's the fighting game episode. I got them all mixed up. Alright, so thank you for helping provide, pack up the link list for the purpose that I almost avoided the shot of that. I mean, as I said, here's the thing, I'll say it, because I'm saying it's not necessarily a wrong thought in his case, the thought of, well, hey, are people going to necessarily want to see a show like, or see a game like this? But then, look, we had this a lot of times. It's to get people exposed and pique their interest, even if it's something shorter or, I guess, off the beaten path. I mean, as I mentioned that, I'll tell you, as I said, on the YouTube site of the shows we've had, the one people watch the most is Mad Maestro on PlayStation 2, and I'm going to tell you, of all the stuff I played, I thought, oh, they'll watch Ocarina of Time, they'll watch Majora's Mask, they'll watch the Sonic games. I mean, they've seen stuff like that. They saw Luigi's Mansion, that was a big one as far as people wanted to come to that. And some stuff with the Sonic stuff, actually, the Midway Arcade Treasures collection, especially the second one we played, people wanted to come to that. So the thought of, hey, it's something different, and then maybe just, I don't know, them seeing the show, or and everybody in the chat, you know this, the thought that, hey, since this is a totally independent show, it doesn't matter necessarily. I don't have to answer to anybody as far as what do we play specifically. So it's saying, you're saying you want to see something like, sure, let's do it. Let's see what we can make out of this. Sometimes make something really interesting, or like, yay, Luigi, or go, Luigi, for the case of that. And we'll definitely do stuff more with Luigi, as far as I can think to that. I'll definitely do something, yeah, as far as Luigi's Mansion, going back to the sequels, 2 is on 3DS. I need to get my 3DS modded for a capture device. It's going to be going into money. 3 is on Switch, so I can do that one pretty easy. And there's other stuff with Luigi for sure, so we can show those things off. And I think, if nothing else, I'll tell you, I've said this before, the idea that, you know, we're all telling a story, or the game that's being played is telling a story. So this is telling a story in terms of my experience sort of playing this, like, versus your love of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, saying that this is a reflection of that, bringing back the thought of that, or other things that are of interest tangential of other things. And here's the Game Grumps channel for the Fighting Edition. Or I'll tell you another case, Edwack, who I work with, he's a big one as far as that, and he was inspired a little bit with their play of Mickey Mousecapade, and he said, you know what, hey, can we do that? Back when it was still good, or back when the Game Grumps show was good. Actually, in my case, I've not seen much of it, so I don't really know, like, what the take of it. I saw the play they did of not Twilight Princess, of Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I know one of the people who does it, I kind of took a break. I think he apparently was getting overloaded or overwhelmed with it. I don't know necessarily if it's like my show in the sense that he's just doing it for fun. I mean, look, I am doing this for fun. This is just something that, as I said, I'm not saying, you know, take money for the show, saying that, hey, we're going to do this from anyone. I'm going to say that, you know what, fine, you say you want to see a show, I'm going to spend money myself for my day job and say, like, let's turn that into the show that way for it. So in that case, I'm doing it more for my own, I guess, amusement in some ways, but also for all of your amusement, enjoyment, and interest. I guess you want to see this stuff. And I'm saying, hey, you know, you come to the show, or you keep coming back to the show, because I guess you get the sense that, I don't know, I guess I'm trustworthy, or I don't know, open enough as far as what I'm doing, but also the sense of when I say we're going to do something, it's like, you want to see a game, it's like, yeah, you got it, we're going to do it. Even if I have to, you know, schedule it a little far out or something, I'll do it. I'm going to give you the best damn show I can. I mean, as I said, I took, like, 2 pages of notes in the book I have. Oh, shit! Alright, fine, I got to show off what I didn't have happen last time. We get knocked out by the turret and dying. And when you die, by the way, that way you go on the checkpoint. But it's instant die when you fall off the building, so be careful. A lot of it's, okay, a lot of it, okay, it still has a lot of fans, though people say it went downhill when JonTron left. Yeah, because then he kind of did his own thing, and kind of, I guess, had the perspective of that himself. Actually, I'll tell you, the people I know who have a fan of that, actually, I'll posit this to them at some point, which is... Okay, for a minute I stopped because I thought I got a life for some reason. Like, there's no points in... Oh, okay, they got hit by the beam. Okay, I was like, what happened? Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know necessarily what era of Game Grumps they... Well, it's specifically, Nikki, who, she called stuff for next year, and Edwack, as I mentioned, and also, the Crochet Nerd 64 has been on for Majora's Mask, and will also be on for Shadowhearts, we start that in 2 months. I know they're ones who follow that channel in particular. I guess in that way, that's their answer to, like, the Super Game Brothers for me. I mean, even though, fine, Super Game Brothers doesn't use stuff anymore. I mean, John Ortiz does. I mean, Elliot does his own stuff on top of that. But still, they follow that one, so they know that perspective, like, what do they take on that? So I'll posit that to them, just to get a sense, to understand it, and definitely put that one on the link list and take a watch on it, to get a sense of more of the stuff with Power Rangers, because, like, hey, you know, as I mentioned, the sky's the limit on this, and a lot of stuff to kind of go into when it comes to it. And also, especially the element of the trident thing with Billy, which, as long as I hit it right, yeah, that can actually do multiple hits. So you gotta be pretty versatile with the weapon. Whoa. So in that case, as I said, that's the interesting thing, I guess, about, I guess what this show has become, is that it's all because of you. It's not because of necessarily me. Just the thought, like, let me do this. As I said, I'm just a guy in my middle 30s who just said, I just have weird gaming shit I want to go into or show. And I guess you've all wanted to come with me on this one. You've all said, hey, I want to see this. I want to show off stuff that you think nobody remembers. I mean, as I said, even if I haven't played it, it doesn't matter if I haven't played it. I'm still gonna... Oh, shit! Okay, crap, I died. Okay, this is one way I guess I'm getting a little bit of a longer play for this. Yeah, but I gotta be careful, because if I die again, I have to start the level over. And, yeah, this is a semi-long level. Not massively, but still something that, yeah, I want to be careful. I mean, hey, it could be worse. It could be the case of, like, I die once and I have to go back to the beginning of the level. Thankfully, it's not that unforgiving. I mean, or it could be like what we mentioned with Batman Forever. Batman Forever has limited continues. This doesn't. So in that case, fine. This also has a password system. That is a stage select we use, but, this is more about the design of it as we go along. Alright, fine, boom. The putty's gotta die. I think that's health that I... Oh, wait, no, I can use the health, because... Oh, no, that's not. There's an extra bomb. Oh, okay, here's one thing I will mention, going back to the game quickly. You get one free bomb when you morph for the first time in the level. And I guess I got one when I came back... Okay, because I didn't use my last one. But if you pick another one up at the stage, you only still have one, so it's not going to be mattering. You only hold one bomb at a time. In that case, also getting more health. Alright. Yeah, before going, here in the crinkling, if I know this, always come hydrated or always be hydrated when you're doing something like this, especially if, like me, you're always talking. But yeah, there you go. Guess we'll fight the, I don't know, looks like a deadly weather balloon or something, but whatever, fine, it's gonna go away eventually. Or go away a third time. Come on down. Yeah, I think the thing with that, it kind of goes usually out of the way, and... Okay, I guess you have to wait until... Yeah, it's not really doing much. Yeah, come on back up. I mean, I could use the bomb to take it out. Well, you know what? Alright, fine, got him. Alright, I gotta be careful here because I know that turret's over there, so just jump on there and duck. Yeah, and it will go over as long as you're ducking. But of course, like with a lot of games, if you get hit like that, you get knocked back, and you'll fall in the pit. So yeah, I don't want that to happen. Okay, yeah, in this case... Oh, alright, I got nervous. Just like, yeah, I didn't want to do that. No! In that case, alright, fine, I didn't jump correctly, because yeah, if you jump... Just standing in the air, you can't really move much. So you have to make sure you're hitting the D-pad to do the jump, which makes sense as far as how it operates, but in that case, that was what it was. Alright, fine, let's take down Gene one more time. It just honestly doesn't matter what I do to him, really. Yeah, let's just ice him. I just love that look of his, like, yeah, he's kind of, you know, has the arms by his side, like, yeah, you know, yeah, Ranger, you're not gonna take me down. Actually, he hasn't done the thing with the mirrors yet. Okay, fine, he's doing mirrors now. Okay, fine, I killed him. Alright, fair enough. I was like, yeah, I just really want to kill him, so if I get a game over, I don't start this over again. Alright, go Power Rangers. We got only one more Ranger level. So yeah, alright, fine. Here's how we worked it. Oh, and the Angry Video Game Nerd episode on the Power Rangers, which was interesting watch, and also going into a lot of the Power Rangers games we didn't get, interestingly enough. Because a lot of them were based on, like, the Japanese elements of Super Sentai, including the one on Famicom. Alright, so last trial, let's take Trini out. Let's go into the cave. Yeah, definitely good elements for that. I guess, you know, I'll pause it this way as well, also as far as chat's concerned. What would you say of the Power Rangers games you may have played would be your favorite one? I mean, I guess in my case, I've only really played two of them. Which are this one and the Power Rangers movie for Super Nintendo, so I guess I'd say that one. But as I said, I've barely played most of these. And I said, we also haven't gotten the bad ones, because I said, I also mentioned, remember, here's the other promise I made. I said, you know, when we start looking at this franchise, we're not just looking at the bad game. We're going to look at something good with it as well. And I guess, that'll be the case as far as, like, the bad ones we look at eventually, or the ones that cured are bad. But in the meantime, we got this one. I'd say the movie game is. Okay. As I said, that'll probably change eventually and play some of the other ones. I want to play that the movie one for the Sega Genesis, I really do, because that looks really cool from what I saw of it. As I mentioned, the beat-em-up case. I generally like the stuff of Sims developed. A big one on Shadow Dancer, actually. Actually, I can tell you, I've kind of grown, our Shadow Dancer's grown on me significantly over the years. So I definitely want to show that. And that other one, as I said, I'll try and see if I can't find that one. It's weird. About a year ago, I think I saw that for like $100 on Super Nintendo. The Genesis one was like $15, $20, if that. But I've also seen it come down a bit. I've seen it about $60, so if that's the case, if I can get to that, at some point I'll see if I can't pick that up and play it. Or feasibly at that point, you know, maybe the other idea is that, depending on how long that one is, I don't know how long that is compared to this one, I feasibly might toss in the other ones from the Super Nintendo as a bonus, maybe? I don't know. I'll figure it at some point. But yeah, we'll definitely come back to this franchise for sure. And I would like to do that one feasibly next, but as I said, I'll have to get a copy of it. Or we can feasibly do the Game Boy version, which, as I said, Nocturne owns. And she said she'd be interested in doing that if you'd want to see that. We do have the Super Game Boy as well, so we can run that with the enhancements it has. Which I realized, actually, when she was mentioning that we didn't play anything so far that is designed specifically around the enhancements of it. But eventually we'll get to that, because I know there's a couple games I want to get to. I want to get to Donkey Kong 94. I love that game. I want to show Battle Arena Toshinden off for Game Boy, which actually probably the best version of the game, shockingly. You think it's on PlayStation. I was going to say maybe on Saturn, but yeah, no, it's not good on Saturn. But yeah, Game Boy might be the best one. And interestingly enough, the Super Game Boy enhancement, one of them is, it's a two-player fighting game on Game Boy that you usually need a Game Link cable to do two-player for. When you have a Super Game Boy, you put two controllers in Super Nintendo, the two-player is there for you on the television, which is awesome. So actually show two-player on a Game Boy fighting game. Alright, so yeah, there we go. Got the Yellow Ranger ready to go. One more hurrah through the caves. Yeah, there's definitely a good choice as far as a good one, and another one where the music's also really good, and the atmosphere of it. And I guess one thing, since I guess it'll be some time before we get to it, what that does interesting is that, first off, it's two players for the beat-em-up segment of it, which is great. I love that they did that. And also that they give you, and this is a unique mechanic, which is, a lot of the beat-em-ups we've seen so far, actually everyone except for this one, has, oh fine, everyone except for this and Magic Sword are cases where you have, you're basically moving on sort of a 3D plane in the sense that you're not just moving left and right, you're moving left, right, up, down, diagonally, as far as positioning of attacking enemies. That game's the same 2D perspective that this game is, but they give you a foreground and background, and they use the L and R buttons, so yeah, this game doesn't use them at all. That one does your jumps between, even to the interesting detail, like if there's a tree blocking the way, you try to jump backwards, you just knock against the tree and bounce back. And the enemies will do it as well, so you have to kind of getting set on the right plane, but just basically the idea of, oh, you can quickly tell where you are for that, compared to what you sometimes run into with beat-em-ups, which is that you try to hit an enemy, but you realize, oh, you're kind of a fraction off from whether they're above you or below you on the 3D plane. You sometimes notice that with stuff like Golden Axe, as much as I love Golden Axe, and some other stuff. But that game actually kind of came up with a smart fix for that, or a nice compromise to it that, as far as I'm aware, I can't really think of many other beat-em-ups that do that. Unless, I don't know, maybe, like you're saying, the Ninja Warriors game and that new one, the Return of the Ninja, I believe, or the Return of the Warrior, I think you said. Maybe that has a mechanic like it, perhaps. Alright, so yeah, we were getting through, yeah, we should be, in good cases, so yeah, in that case, we'll give you a good, at least, a little under 3 hours for this game. Yeah, why not? May as well. As I said, it's not that I'm necessarily trying to inflate the show that much, but as I said, we play the beat-em-up games twice usually anyway, so we may as well, you know, go the whole element of it. I guess I'll have to get a sense of that when we do Final Fight 3, and, well, the next beat-em we're gonna do, which is gonna be, Streets of Rage 2, we're gonna do that in December. And then we'll do Final Fight 3. So, as I mentioned, same plans before, going back and forth between those franchises as we get through those. Yeah, it is simple, but it's fun just to, you know, to smack the putties down. Like, you hear those, thwacks going there. It just sounds so cool. It just gives you a sense of, like, yeah, I'm causing that damage, and it is very, satisfying, very cathartic. Perfect for all end of a long week, as, mentioned. Like, chat's mentioned, too. Alright. Alright, so, back at the, research laboratory. Also, I'm gonna see what was going on before when it came to, yeah, destroying the computers, because I wasn't 100% sure on what was causing that. Okay, that was close to me getting just grazed by that. And it is on a pattern, so if you know where to stand, you can avoid those lasers feasibly. Alright, you know what? Yeah, let him come to me. Okay, I think if I throw him into it, so yeah, just close. Okay, fine, I missed throwing him. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you just throw him into it. Okay, so if you throw them into him, they destroy, but that's, oh, crap. Yeah, I'm getting close as far as whether I'm actually gonna, you know, get through this without getting the game over. We'll see. So far, actually, I guess that's been the good case. I haven't gotten the game over once on this, so, so far so good. Fortunately, the computers, I don't think have anything in them, just, you know, for nice visual effect, but hey, it is a nice visual effect. You know, slam into the monitor and boom, they're out. Alright, here we go, the laser again. Or we go that perspective of the video game nerd episode you mentioned, the idea that, hey, this laser's so annoying. Oh, wait, it hurts the enemies as well? Okay, now I like it. Alright. Yeah, because in that case it just killed them as well, so yeah, you should be fine for that. Yeah, the putties get stuck up on the platform, but yeah, in that case, no, you're falling down. Yeah, and they can't come up here, so yeah, at that point... Okay, there you go. Actually, yeah, seeing a little bit of slowdown to this, of which this game does not have much. But honestly, you're not getting a whole lot of situations where there's tons and tons of enemies on the screen. It's probably the most, I guess, busy part of the game, one of them anyway. The other one was, I guess, with the truck in the first level. Alright, there's the warning. Alright. I do love that visual flare. It just looks nice. Oh, shit. Okay, fine. I guess I got my head hit into it. I mean, it really doesn't do as much damage as you think it would do. You'd think, like, it would take off half your health, but it doesn't. Hey, just in case I just crouch and just slice right at it. Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, I should be able to get this thing now, and looking for health. Please let me have some health. I don't remember if they give you health before the boss. I don't think they do. Alright, yeah, let's see how far I get on this, if I can pull this one out. I mean, admittedly, this is not a hard boss as long as I just keep him close in distance. Because usually he won't do that dash away if he's, close to you. As soon as you see that, just get out of the way and also avoid the bombs. As soon as he's gonna teleport away, just get out of the way. Just stay to the side of where the bomb is. Fine, let's hit him with this. Yeah, electrify. Yeah, again, the flashing light, I'll put the warning of that in the edit. Yeah, because if you get him into a good pattern, he won't... Okay, fine, I did kill him, I think, without getting hit. I'll edit if I did. Alright, fine, I did take him down. Alright, so at least that makes the end of this easier. I'm just glad it happened there, so if I get a game over, because actually, lives aren't mattering in the last two stages. We're running with the Zords again. So yeah, the double shot of the Zords. Alrighty. Alright, so one last hurrah with the Zords. I get the vocal for that. I do love that they have that. I think this is the only game of that era, with the exception of the Sega CD game, that has that. Well, the fact that Super Nintendo's doing that is pretty impressive. Alright, so we got our Zord, so, yeah, let's do it again. So, fine, it's not Morphin time, they already had Morphin time, but yeah. Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Saber-toothed Tiger, Tyrannosaurus! Alright, and now we are getting serious. Alright, one more hurrah for Megazord. Let's take down Mutitis and Cyclopsis again. Let's try and see if I can't take down Mutitis without dying this time, shall we? Yeah, because this is the redemption arc. So it's like when we had that from Majora's Mask Part 2. It was like, hey, the Crusader 64 got Romani abducted. Like, yeah, then he did it right, and yeah, everything was set. Let's do it. He's doing more of the block, though. Fine, I'll also use my arm charge. Like, yeah, like, so the practice with the special fight mode was a good thing. Yeah. I guess going into, as mentioned, the Godzilla things. Like, yeah, you're getting that big mass going. Especially that Power Rangers Fighting edition, from what I've understood, too. Alright, come on. Alright, fine, he's done. There we go, that's how you finish him off. In this case, yeah. Cut through, perfect. Alright. Okay, that is how to take care of him. Alright, definitely redemption right there. And lastly, one more time on Cyclopsis. I feel like I've said his name multiple times. Great. Yeah, it was not as great the first time, but it said we'll still have that up there. It's like, yeah, it's not redundant to have both of these as far as the play of this game, because as mentioned, we're going to a bunch of other things. So yeah, there we go. You do get the background thing. Although in this case, they don't have the vocals going on, but you could feasibly go on yourself with a good Go Power Rangers. Yeah, you definitely get into it. That's the thing as far as Power Rangers, I think, as an enterprise. Even if you were one of those people, like, initially with me, I was thinking, like, the thought, like, am I embarrassed to admit that I kind of have a little bit of a soft spot, or was kind of curious, if nothing else, growing up? Maybe, but still, the thought that you do kind of get pumped up. Oh my god, I remember the song. I think everybody remembers the song, which I mentioned earlier in the show. It was Ron Waxman who did the music for that, or did that song. who also then went on actually to do the music for Hot in Cleveland, interestingly enough, as well as Deal or No Deal, and he did the theme song for the X-Men cartoon, the so it's like, yeah, another insanely catchy, you know, perspective of 90s music, but as I said, also something more modern as far as the other things mentioned. And he also, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is he also did the music for the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z. Actually, the version I got. Hot in Cleveland? Yes, that's what I saw when I was doing my lookup. Okay, there we go, perfect, got him. But yeah, apparently Ron Wasserman, who did the theme song for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, did do the music for Hot in Cleveland. Actually, I think you mentioned that show on this, that show on this program before. Yes, get that set. Yeah, and besides, that's the other thing as far as the show is like, yeah, there are not many other Twitch streams that are going to be given an indication to that, potentially. Alright, so there we go. So we finished the game again. So, alright. I guess bit of a short game. You get to have the 2 plays for it as we're going back, and we're going to spend some more time with Bulk and Skull, the 90s bullies, as it was for the show, who always kind of want to go out with Trini and Kimberly and like, yeah, no, we're not feeling that. And of course, Ernie runs the restaurant. Alright, so that is feasibly going to be the conclusion for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Super Nintendo. It is short and simplistic, but it is fun. It definitely captures the feel of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and as a first representation of it on the Super Nintendo and first representation of the franchise, Ben Natsume, who developed, yeah, definitely gets the job done, and it is affordable. If you want to play it, it's only like 15-20 bucks on Super Nintendo for it. And then the next one is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, for the Super Nintendo, which is a bit more, quite a bit more. As well as the Fighting Edition and Power Rangers Zeo Battle Racers as far as the Super Nintendo stuff. But there's a lot of Power Rangers games, feasibly more than I can count. But we definitely figure out any of the ones you want to go into. This was fun. Oh, I'm glad you've had a good time, ElecVerse, with it. And as I said, thank you also for requesting Power Rangers stuff. I figured, like, let's just get one I can get that's good to start on, that's 7x4, but don't you worry, I'm definitely going to look into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the Super Nintendo one, and the Sega Genesis one. Because I had a great time with this game too, definitely getting that perspective, and doing the celebration, or starting the celebration of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which, usually when it comes to the show, I think that's the idea. We want to celebrate gaming or anything we have of an interest, particularly when it's a reflection of a game, and saying like, hey, whether they did it right, whether they didn't do it right, or however. And nothing else, I said, that's the thing I think that I've liked. I look forward to the show every week for, and for all the requests that you, or Dolphin, or Monty UK, or anybody, even people I've had on the show, get into. And the idea is like, hey, I'm glad I'm giving you a fun show, that you're adding to it, and you're adding to it. Look, this is a fun show for me too, because of all of you out there. And I thank you so much. I say it every week. I thank you so much for adding to it and saying that, hey, you're liking what this is. You're saying, hey, I want to see something. I want to come in and, you know, have the good time with it. And as I said, I think that's the interesting thing about this show, I guess, which is, as I said, this is a small audience, but we're doing stuff, very specific stuff we want to do. And I said, it's all up to you as far as out there in the chat. Anything you want to see, go into whatever it might be, we can do it on the show. And as I mentioned there, the passwords for the 2-player mode we showed off a little while ago for the fighting. So you get that. And next time we come back to this franchise, I'll see about the Power Rangers on Super Nintendo or Genesis, or we could feasibly bounce off. We do like with Final Fight and Streets of Rage, because like, fine, we'll do Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I guess either the movie or the fighting game on the Genesis, which also follows the show, to it, because that's the one that I know doesn't cost a lot of money. I think it's like $10, if that. So, yeah, whatever you want to see as far as Power Rangers and other stuff, and I guess as far as other licensed stuff that we got going, I think that the next licensed game we have is going to be, let me think as far as the schedule, because we're going to go into the schedule, as is one of this program. You know, the other thing we'll also do is, we'll have to finish there. We're going to let the theme song go on as far as the title screen, because it's awesome. And get the perspective, like, there's your logo, there's your Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You see that, like, yeah, you just think, like, yeah, Power Rangers. Or it's Morphin Time, whatever you want to put into that. Yeah, I think the next licensed game we have set for the show is actually going to be a Super Nintendo game. That's going to be in November for the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, which, ElecVerse, I know you asked for. We're going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary on November 19th, which is by the time we start the show, will be November 20th, which is when it came out in Japan. So at that point, it will be its 30th anniversary to the day. But since Japan's a little ahead of the US, we'll have that running as far as the licensed stuff is concerned. But yeah, I guess to quickly go back, before I go in the rest of the schedule, to go into my elements on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game. It's simple. It has some weird stuff, as maybe some of the stuff like the faces as far as the stuff for the characters. But it is fun, easy to control. It's fun to play. It's also a good primer as far as beat 'em up if you haven't played one before. And feasibly, okay, one thing is, I guess it only has one difficulty level, but that'd also be a good thing in the sense of, you know, maybe not decimating you, perhaps. And if you like Power Rangers, this definitely captures the spirit of it in a very good way. And it's not that expensive, so yeah, it is a good pickup for a cheap one for your Super Nintendo Entertainment System collection. Alrighty, and next time we come back to Power Rangers, I'll see which one I can get as far as next, but yeah, I will definitely let you know when that happens. It will be on Master List, as will anything else that's in chat there, and we'll figure that as we go along. Alright, so, thank you for joining us for Super Bowl Game Almost Saturday, the Friday edition. So that's the official name of the Friday program. But still the same idea as Super Bowl Game Saturday, but because of that, there's not a show tomorrow night for Saturday, but next week's program is going to be Saturday. That's going to be a return to Parasite Eve for Part 2. Got a Medics who's going to be joining me again for that one. And there's going to be a little bit more of a surprise going on with that one. Anyway, I sort of hinted last week. I'll keep you a little bit suspense what that is, but yeah, we are going back to Parasite Eve. He'll be back for the show for that, so we'll continue our experience with that RPG of squares from the PlayStation 1 era, running on the PS3, and yeah, we're gonna definitely have a good time continuing our experience on that one. Had a great time with Part 1. Looking forward to Part 2 for sure next week on Saturday. The week after that is August 27th, which is 2 days after the 25th anniversary of GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64. Protorova and Dolly Finn's coming on in September. Fine. Protorova and Nocturne are going to be on with me for GoldenEye 007, as Protorova and I are taking on the challenge of playing through the whole game on Double Agent for the single player, and Nocturne will be there to give her experiences with it and join us for the multiplayer fun, of which we'll show all job off once, and that'll be about it. But then we'll definitely go into elements of that, celebrate another case of, you know, in anniversary, sort of, as far as it, and a great one for the Nintendo 64. I'm looking forward to doing that in 2 weeks. The week after that is going to be January 64 coming back for Part 4 of Majora's Mask. We just finished the Great Bay Temple last time. He has a few things to do there, and most of the rest of the game is going to fall on me, with a couple exceptions, because Akana Valley is coming up, and I got to deal with some stuff there. Some of the weight of that game is going to be hitting us like a ton of bricks. I think one perspective of that for the next part. And also, he's going to get ready for starting Shadow Hearts in October, which we'll get to. The week after that next part of Majora's Mask is going to have to be Part 3 of Parasite Eve, I believe. I'll figure out where we're at after next week, because that's also going to be a question of a few things, because I don't think we finish Parasite Eve itself next week. I don't think we do. But if we do, there's also the extra, or the New Game Plus that they offer. There's a special challenge as far as the Chrysler building. We're going to show that off. How I'm going to do that is that when we finish Parasite Eve, whether it's going to be next week or it's going to be the second week of September, for the last part, I'm going to do the off-screen junk grinding that MX was getting into. We played that for Part 1. I'll be set at the Chrysler building for that, to have all the good gear for that. And then also we'll go through that, and then we'll do the final boss, or the extra boss that comes with that for that special mode. So I think we need to show that element of the RPG off, or that RPG off. And then the week after that is Sonic Mania with Nocturne, then Tetris Attack with Dolly Finn, and then into October, as I mentioned, Mischief Makers, Majora's Mask Part 5, fourth part of Parasite Eve if we need it, House of the Dead remake, and Shadow Hearts, the RPG after Parasite Eve. And then November, we're getting into, which is mostly going to be, mostly going to be, half of the month is going to be Crusader 64 on the program, with the finale of Majora's Mask and Part 2 of Shadow Hearts. Then, as I mentioned, Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse for the 19th, and 26th is going to be the Dreamcast Racing Showcase. I know Dolly Finn wanted to see that. Dolly Finn is saying this was a fun program tonight. Thank you very much to everybody for joining the show and for mixing up as far as the chat and everything you had with this one. Yeah, so lots of good stuff going on. As the next time we do Beat 'em Up flat out is going to be for Streets of Rage 2 in December at some point. And we will definitely come back to Power Rangers, as I mentioned, for sure in the future. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Dollyfin. Thank you very much, ElecVerse. Thank you, everybody out there, for joining us for the show tonight. Yeah, with that, as I said, we're doing Friday shows. I'm not skipping a week. As I mentioned earlier, I love what the show has become. Everybody's made it such a great show. You all have done that. So thank you very much, everybody out there. Good night, everyone. This is Dollyfin. I second that for sure. Thank you so much for everything you do for the show, for making it something that I don't ever want to miss a week of, or if I do, I'll tell you specifically, and then I'll say, like, yeah, I kind of feel like something's missing without it the next week. But great show. Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. And as I said, it's not me necessarily even making a great show. It's always you're all making it a great show. So, if nothing else, I'm just kind of here to play it, but as I said, it's also facilitation of what you all have on your mind, and giving me new perspectives on certain things as well. I mean, I got that for the purpose of, Dollyfin, what you're saying with stuff like the Commodore 64 stuff, and like what you're saying with stuff with Power Rangers games, and some of the stuff, and the Ninja Warrior games, so I'll definitely take a look at those. I look forward to the show for sure. Okay, thank you very much, and I definitely do, so I guess it works well that way. And with that, yeah, we will leave you as far as the Power Rangers. Take care, my friends. Yeah, our teenagers' attitudes did us good tonight. Yeah, with that, have a great rest of your weekend. A great week coming forward for next week. I will see you next Saturday with the Medics. Take care. Thank you very much, Dollyfin says. I'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday for part 2 of Parasite Eve with the Medics. Till then, keep being awesome. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Thank you for everything. And take care.